Knuckles. Do what? Do what?
Yeah.
Crack Knuckles?
Yeah. There you go. I see. I knew Momo was gonna do that for the intro. I was thinking to myself, like, don't encourage it because you know he'll do it anyway. Yeah, there he is. That's okay. So yeah, we're today. Welcome to Stale Realm 299. Look, we're almost 300. Yay, we did it. We're talking about healers. My flow's thrown off now. My flow's thrown off.
You seem so dejected, Happy.
I was already like, so before the show even began, you could see while the music was playing, I was just like, all right, let me just prepare mentally for this real quick. Just wipe my eyes and explain. Yeah. We're going to talk about healers and the current state of them, how they've panned out so far, and expectations for the future, especially because we now know the date of the first major balance patch, I'd say, with patch 6.08. So anyway, I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Happy, of course, joining me. Sly, what's up, boss? Congrats on your P2S clear.
Yeah.
Barely any time in there. You can move through really quick. Doing good.
Quick, I guess?
For literally doing it once a week. Yeah. And like a couple of hours once a week. I'd say you're moving pretty quick.
Yeah, it was a shame we didn't get it on Sunday, but we wanted a salty run back, so we went back in on Monday.
Those are the best salty run backs. And well, as many of you know, Sly and I not exactly healer extraordinaires. You know, it's dabble. You know, Sly we dabble. So we brought on a couple of healer extraordinaires. I'm completely thrown off because of Momo's one of them. You figured that out already.
Yeah, we brought in Momo. Hey, yeah. Momo's here.
Yeah,
I'm here to make it hectic.
Yeah, yeah. And then to balance out Momo's hecticness, Midna's back. And this time with the wide camera, much to my surprise, because I prepared the narrow camera, and she's like, I did this for you. And I'm like,
I did.
Midna, agent of chaos.
Chaos. Sorry, we're not there yet. That's not till March. Sorry. How are you two doing? How are you doing, Midna?
Oh, I'm chilling, as usual. Vibing.
Vibing.
I just gotta throw some lo-fi music on in the back. I literally went to the exact lo-fi channel that you used one day to stream, and I'm like, I understand why she does this.
It's so chill.
Yeah.
Did you use my playlist?
I went to your stream and I saw what was like going through, and I was like, oh, okay, I want to listen to something.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Momo, how are you doing?
I heard my hands clapping. Yeah, they kind of ache, but I mean, otherwise I'm doing pretty good. I'm just here to talk about healers at your request.
Oh, would you not do it if it wasn't at my request?
Yeah, I don't usually do it. I'm not really a healer main myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more of a Reaper main now,
Yeah, but you are a healer extraordinaire, and you put out quite a few videos on the state of the role, of the job. You're very strongly opinionated about it, and they're opinions that we value.
Oh, they're opinionated. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought they were factual. I'm just kidding.
I mean, for the most part, they really are. He's not wrong. So, this is the kind of Momo we got today, huh? This is the Momo we got. This one.
Yeah, I woke up.
Yeah, you were wondering which one we were getting today. Yeah.
Yeah. The one with Stall was a little more tame, minus a couple moments. This one.
Was he though?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait. I wasn't tame. I'm not tame.
Well, no, not now. Not right now. No,
you don't think I'm okay? Let me hold on.
No. We're gonna get banned. No.
What? All right.
Okay. Before we're going to talking about the healer stuff, shout out to our sponsors over on Patreon for supporting the channel. Appreciate you. We don't do anything fancy for them. They just decide they want to be there, and so we respect them for that. So appreciate them. And thank you to Steelseries doing monthly giveaways. Last month's giveaway is kind of a weird one because we only ended up having 2 shows, but we'll have another one under this YouTube video, so go check that out after the show is done once it's posted to YouTube. Join that. It's free stuff every month. Why don't you want to enter? Yes, and they're restocking from Christmas now, so I can actually start sending people stuff out. Perfect. With that, oh boy, this before we even talk about healers in particular, can we all agree that this is probably one of the most divisive expansion releases balance-wise to just talk about in general in quite some time?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, it's really funny because I think healers are probably the most balanced right now.
Yeah, I think so too. That's actually
Yeah.
it's kind of why I wanted to start with tanks and healers. I think those two roles tanks have their own problems, but I think generally speaking it could be worse. But healers, yeah, I'm kind of glad that we're getting to those first because, you know, we now have the tier behind us. We have a lot to say about healers, and healers are really the backbone of progression because they hold the entire weight of everyone's mistakes, their own mistakes,
They keep us alive.
and keeping us alive while also dealing damage. So
You're welcome. Finally getting the recognition we deserve.
I mean, it's going to be short-lived because once these 2 hours are done, then everyone's going to forget that anyone said anything.
It's gonna start
like that.
shitting on us again.
Yeah, it'd be like, oh yeah, wow, I'm really glad we had this discussion. So, where's my fucking heal after I was standing in drop feed? Huh? Anyway, before we get too deep into this, just because we're talking specifically about jobs and roles, I think it would be best if both of you kind of, you've been on the show before, but do like a little spiel introduction experience with the role and whatnot. So, Momo, why don't we start with you? Give everyone just a brief introduction to yourself and your experience with the healer role.
Me. I'm a healer main, I guess. Kind of.
Yes.
I've been healing for a while. I think I started healing back in Delta Escape. But I kind of make videos on healer stuff, and they kind of get traction. So I guess that makes me a healer guy.
Kind of.
I kind of play.
Kind of.
I kind of specialize more in the shield healers, but I mean I do kind of play Astro Light Mage from time to time, but it's just not really needed because my co-healer is a pure healer, so I just focus more on Scholar Sage. Yeah, he's a little dabble, you know. It's a little
bit.
He's just kind of dabbles.
Yeah, it's kind of dabbles,
Every
you
so
know.
often. He's a Reaper main.
Yeah, see, I mean, Arcane Crest. I mean, technically, I'm a healer still.
Momo,
Hi.
I just want a normal answer.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The whole time I'm like, oh, he's gonna do this the whole show, isn't he?
Okay, I could tone it down. My bad. But yeah, I've been playing for a while. I think I've been playing healer for a while. It's been what? When was Delta Skip? Like almost 5 years ago. At this point, that kind of hurts to say.
Yeah.
But I do mainly focus on the shield healer, and I make YouTube videos on healer content. So.
All right, and Midna, how about you? What's your experience? Do your little spiel without the kind ofs, please.
Without the stuttering. Well, hi, my name's Midna. I started Final Fantasy in Stormblood. I started off as Astro. I've been Astro healing for what, I guess 4-5 years, long time. I haven't really played too many of the other healers. I have dabbled in White Mage and now Sage, a little bit of Scholar. But I was a shield healer for the most part, and now I guess I'm a pure healer by force. So, yeah.
It's all right. You still got neutral. That's
Yeah,
shield
kinda.
healing.
Yeah, a little
That
bit. Yeah.
You play Astro
yeah.
still, or you play Sage?
No, I'm still sticking with Astro. I'm staying
Astro, okay.
true. Staying true to the cards despite all the changes that I don't like.
Oh, okay, that's gonna
We'll
be
get to
interesting then.
those.
Yeah.
We'll get to those.
Oh
yeah.
man, I know Sly's only experience is the healer role quest at this point, so I'm not. Listen, I'm glad you did it though. I'm glad you did the healer role quest, Sly. But when's the savage healing?
Never.
Come on, can we make it? Can we make it like a goal, like a sub goal?
Oh,
You just have
tank.
to
Oh my
pug.
god.
You just have to pug on healer for like a night.
Don't. I already have enough reasons to drink. Don't give me more.
I feel like being on DPS should make you want to drink too at times. Can't do anything about it. This just gives you the power, Sly.
DPS is like, for me, most of the time, it's just smooth brain. It's just, as long as I do mechanics, I can just smooth brain and I'll be okay and do damage, hit stuff. Rawr, rawr. Caveman.
It's a weird caveman noise, but all right, I'll take it.
I know.
I get way more match playing melee DPS than I do.
Yeah, that's what I was
healer.
thinking.
Second a tank turns the boss at the wrong time or pulls the boss to a spot that it's not supposed to be, Mage.
God,
Melee Mage.
He just reminded me in the CBT video with Whoops where Rin's like, you want to see someone lose raid thrust? He just turns the boss. Back when you needed the positional.
Oh man.
Oh, that's tank grief right there. Well, before I do want to talk a lot about the individual encounters because I think there is actually a lot to say about each individual encounter with each of the healers. Astra in particular, I'm sure is going to be a hot topic, not just because Midna's here. But first, we kind of have to talk about this is the first time we've gotten together to have a discussion about healers at all. And at this point, the game's been out, the expansion's been out about 7 weeks. We've had one minor-ish balance patch that I don't even really think did anything to the healers.
Nothing.
Yeah, I don't think there's
anything to anything.
Excuse you. Excuse you guys. It increased Fate Union's tether by 15 yalms.
True.
20 yalms. Was it 10 or 15 before? I don't
thought it
remember.
just doubled it. Maybe it went from 20. No, it went from
I think it was
15.
15. So
They go from 20
I think it's 30 now. It's 15 to 30.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that was actually really big. Unironically, it was pretty nice.
Yeah, that was really nice. But that's about it. And we know we have the next balance adjustment coming on Monday night into Tuesday. They did officially post on the Lodestone 6.08, and its balance changes are coming this coming week. So
I can't wait.
What if there's no healer changes?
Exactly.
Going to mess everything up, or nothing's going to change. There's
Fair.
no in between.
But speaking of which, I think we should probably take a little bit to define kind of what the impressions were going in, because I think people are always a little apprehensive about how jobs actually perform prior to Savage coming out, because extremes are not always the best measure. Normal modes are by far not a good measure. And it just comes down to a lot of vacuum math or just kind of random anecdotal experience. So if we could talk about kind of what your expectations, fears were prior to the Savage tier coming out, I think that would probably be a good place to start. So, Midna, why don't you start there? Because you play one of the more divisive healers at the moment, and that of Astrologian. So, prior to Savage mode, how were you afraid of anything going into Savage? Did you fear like you had any weaknesses, or was it really just trying to shore things up gameplay wise?
The card system. The fucking card system. And the removal of sleeve draw and them changing the Arcana back to like, I guess the Stormblood-esque Lord and Lady. And I was like, okay, like I'm fine with that, but I know I'm going to be fishing for Lords. And just doing the opener, I was like, this is going to be the clunkiest, most awkward feeling thing. And it is. And I still fuck it up because there's just so many stupid little spells that I have to do, and then I can DPS like a half an hour later. Other than that, I was curious about how Macrocosmos was gonna play, because I thought it was gonna be pretty like niche just with how powerful it is, but I mean that's been fun to use. Not OP at all, totally. Other than that, I'm pretty happy actually. Like aside from the card system and some other little things that I've just mentioned, I think these are probably the best changes for Astro. The less like annoying changes than whatever else has happened, because like over the years, like Astro's card system has been changed God knows how many times. Spells have been removed, things have been put back, things are altered, and then it's just I feel like Astro just has had an identity crisis for so long, and
Who are you?
And the card system, I think, is probably one of the most challenging things the devs have had to take on, because how the fuck do you balance RNG with playability and not want to make the player rage? Because like fishing for seals is the most annoying thing ever. So yeah, that's me. It's a little bit of Astro thoughts.
Sly's very opinionated on Astro, as you may have picked up from that. He's very much a give me the old cards, the Stormblood cards back. You know, he's in that boat. He wants to give bowls to tanks and whatnot. Yeah.
I liked the old ones.
Good.
I still fished for balance a bunch, like getting balance. I was like, yes, but I did like the utility that Astro once had. I thought that was pretty unique. I also miss things like time dilation. I thought that was also really cool and unique, and I feel like they've taken away a lot of like I said, the identity of Astro. It's just kind of all over the place.
Okay, I'll give you time dilation. I like Time Mage Astro, which is actually why I like current Astro, because they kind of brought that back in the
They're
delayed
kind of bringing
heals.
it back, yeah.
So that's actually why I'm kind of a big fan, other than the button bloat, really.
With Astro now, do you feel like in terms of I guess raid play, do you feel like you're playing for Windows, or you feel like you're just playing for strict DPS? This is for both of you.
I don't know, to be honest. I feel like playing for Windows. I don't know. It's just with all the cards and the RNG, like it's just kind of like whatever is given to me. That's just kind of how I roll. So
define Windows. Like, what does Windows mean? Like
your
burst window.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Like your 2-minute windows.
Yeah.
That's what I assumed.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, you can't really you can redraw, but like every redraw you do is technically DPS you also lose, because generally that's going to be the period where DPS are going to be bursting. So like every GCD you wait having to throw a card on them, that's a GCD you're potentially missing. That could be either like a Madare or like a tech finish, something like that, right? So it's a pretty. It depends on like the card and who your card plane is, but
the most unrealistic thing about the show so far is you just had a dancer in your party.
I was just giving an example. I don't play Astro right now because I don't know I haven't researched the job what they do under burst. So like I don't really know like what they do. Like I just know their Shadowbringer stuff. So dancer was easy because they have tech finish.
Yep.
Like you'd want a card like a dancer like at 107, so it would catch like their standard, and do it again like at 207 to catch their tech. So it's just like little things like that. Like let's say you wanted to like card like a samurai at I don't know 13 seconds, right? Or like 213. You're redrawing your card, you pull your card, and then let's say it's like 210, right? You need to get that card out of that GCD, or else you're going to miss it, right? If you have to redraw, you miss the Madari, you're screwed.
I mean, I don't want to play dance. Maybe I don't want to play Astro. I don't want to think. I just want to play cards.
About it. I don't think about giving. I'm just like, here's a card. You're lucky you got one. So,
yeah.
Like at this rate.
Oh man, I was surprised you didn't bring up. Oh, sorry, I was gonna say I was surprised you didn't bring up the earthly galaxy as it is now, and not earthly star.
Oh, I have no complaints. I swear to fuck if they change that. Like I don't want to battle with people bringing them into my star. Like, oh my god.
Oh man.
So what happened to Minor Arcana, and why don't we need it anymore? Wait, just let me stop. Why? What would you change about Minor Arcana?
Oh god.
To make it fit.
Delete it and bring back Khuja.
No, she's right. Like there's really, the thing is you can't, so like you could bring back like Shadowbringer's Minor Arcana, but like it would only be used like maybe 1 or 2 times a fight at most.
Yeah.
So like the only option is to either change how it works completely or remove it from the game and either add something back in place of it.
So I was right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I saw one solution that was simultaneously the best solution and the worst solution at the same time. Because they were like, why don't they make undraw a 2-minute cooldown and let you, or like 1 minute cooldown, let you just swap your Arcana in case you want the other one? And I'm like, yeah, okay, that gets me 10 lords in a fight, but then why is it there? Just put Lord on a 60-second cooldown.
Just give us Lord as a skill.
Yeah.
I would take that, yeah.
Really? With all the buttons you already have, you would take that as another skill?
Yeah.
Something's gotta go. You can't keep adding
No,
up.
I want that. Okay, let's get sleeve draw back, and then I'll just have yeah, just the Lord.
Midna, the
I'll
only one
take
trying
it.
to add buttons to Astro at this point.
I'm so used to pressing like 3 million buttons. I'm like, what's one more? Let's just add it.
I don't have space for one more. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean the fact that play and draw and minor arcana and the other draw, the fact that there's 2 different plays, there's crown play and play,
Yeah.
so much redundancy at this point.
I had to
Oh,
actually make a
yeah.
completely new keybind for Astrology in this expansion.
So I don't like
So
it.
it's like, yeah.
Don't like it.
I play Scholar. I played Scholar in Stormblood too, so that's saying something.
Yeah. Speaking of scholars, so Astro largely just complaints seem to be too much button bloat and too much APM.
Clunky opener.
Yeah, clunky opener. The APM just makes it uncomfortable. But otherwise, performing fine. Or you weren't concerned about it before Savage at the very least, you know. But this was
No, not in terms
yeah.
of heals.
Yeah. Okay. The other 3 healers, I think we can all safely agree that Sage had nobody concerned whatsoever, outside of potentially being maybe too strong. Is that about it? Yeah. I think Sage's
Sage?
direct healing was a little concerning. I think people were worried
Yeah.
about, like, if you didn't have like things very specifically saved, was about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my only complaint about Sage is that there isn't enough oh shit buttons. But I mean, that could change later on.
It's probably balanced though, because Scholar also doesn't have any shit buttons. That's like a pure healer kind of identity they've kind of gone with.
I feel like
they
even
don't.
prior though to Shadow or to Endwalker, I still had like quite a bit in my arsenal. Like, I mean, mostly just essential dignity, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I had more than what I have with Sage. But healing with Sage has been fine, like co-healing.
Yeah.
Sage is honestly feels stronger than Astrologia when it comes to its off GCD power. Like GCD's aside, like it's just off GCD power is just really strong. Like you have so much.
Yeah.
Like Caracol is pretty much used on cooldown. Numa being a 900 potency when combined with Zoe is actually insane. And you also have like it's just it's like Scholar could do the same thing, but then Scholar has like ED, so it's just like, well, guess I can't do anything because I lose damage when I have to do this. So you know, in this game too, everything is about damage.
It sure is, and that's why Sage is definitely a favorite for most people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because they got some big damage, and aren't really any
I don't know,
harder
like-
to play for damage either.
As opposed to damage, I mean, I feel like Scholar, like in terms of just its overall, like gameplay wise, I feel like Scholar got like buffed the hell out of the 3 existing healers. It felt like Scholar's in like I wouldn't say the perfect place. It's not perfect, but it feels good.
I'm a big fan of Scholar.
It is good.
I played Scholar pretty much like nonstop for all the EX trials, which not a great example. But again, we're talking about that pre-Savage window, and I was like, this job is ridiculous. This is insane. Like, what? How am I supposed to die with this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Scholar got the least amount of changes going into the expansion, but they also got the most quality of life changes with
Quality of
just
life,
one tiny change of. I mean, there's 2 big changes. The 1.5 second cast bar affected Scholar the most out of all the healers, and then the fairy quality of life that whatever they did to the system.
And then the tether
was really good.
in 0.05 even, yeah.
Yeah, but
One
I mean
quick
that's
question.
really good.
Yeah.
One quick question: How bad does Scholar suffer from ghosting?
I mean, it exists still, but like it's just at that point, it's just like a skill issue kind of thing. Like like you kind of just messed up because that means you're using like a Whispering Dawn or something like 1 second left on the fairy gauge or the seraph gauge or whatever, which you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, it doesn't just lose stuff for the most part now. It doesn't get lost in the sauce, which it had before. Yeah, but then it's expedience. I mean, expedience, I feel like Scholar's hard carry mechanics. When I go fast, and I'm like, now I know everyone's going fast. Until somebody kills themselves and then they blame it on the scholar. They're like, I didn't expect you to make me go fast here. What?
Yeah, I remember I tried to for P4 normal. You know how like did like the 3 cape plus sword things? I always tried to like expedient right as people hit the wall so they would go flying into it. I was like, oh, man, just kept trying. Never worked though.
Oh, well then I guess it's not strong enough.
Yeah, I need to buff it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, so Scholar, most people seem to think has benefited from changes the most. Sage is insanely strong. Astro a bit clunky. And then you get to White Mage where everyone just kind of looks and goes, so let's talk about the other 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Okay.
White Mage is actually pretty good.
Okay, can you do something about the fucking MP cost? Because like why are their MP costs a little bit higher than the others? Like what the fuck? I mean, I know
I think
it's
they
the
just
OG,
forgot.
but goddamn.
Okay, we actually have a logical conclusion for why it's like that. It's because Square Enix, because we have the calculator for the damage and stuff now. So like we have like, you know, how long does a healer run out of MP using this kind of piety, you know? And right now, I think it was if you don't use any lilies whatsoever with the current best in slot, the 2.32 best in slot, you run out of MP at 5 minutes, something changed, right? Which is really low considering Scholar doesn't run out until like 20 minutes. And then, you know, Sage and Astro are even higher than that. I think Astro's like 40 minutes or something like that. I don't remember. But okay, now that sounds funny when you think about it, right? But as the second you start putting, you use 2 lilies per minute, that's when White Mage catches up to like a 15-minute mark. So undoubtedly, that kind of gives us confirmation that Square Enix definitely designed White Mage's MP balance with using lilies on cooldown, which in my opinion is bad design, but it's just something that's why it feels so bad. Because you don't want to use your lilies, but you kind of have to just because that's your only source of maintaining a relatively healthy MP pool.
Right. Mike, I remember you during the media tour, there was a question you wanted to ask. Is White Mage still a glare mage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, it was more the, so they've done this one really neat core design with some of the healer abilities that I think is a healthy design going forward, and something that is oddly not reflected in White Mage. And Momo, you've brought this up before, in that they've added abilities that let you do your role, your healer role. You can support the team, heal everyone, but they don't sacrifice damage on that given GCD. So you'll deal enough damage to do the same single target damage, and then in AoE, it's even stronger. When you get to the lilies, theoretically, those should be designed with the same principle. And they kind of already were in Stormblood. It was you are using a healing GCD, but there is a potency that is in some degree gained. But it was never neutral back then. But now they've added damage neutral skills to the other healers, and now it looks even more out of place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I say just make the lilies just damage neutral. That's my only.
That's Momo's thing. Yeah, Momo's been saying that for like the last month at this point.
It would help. I've also heard the idea of like having lilies on the off GCD, which I don't think is a bad idea, but that's kind of like rework levels of change, because like you need to like supplement a new kind of GCD as because like lilies, they're not just healing tools, they're also White Mage's primary weaving and movement tool, and if you get rid of that, they would literally have nothing. So they would have to kind of like supplement something in place of that, which would be like rework levels of change, in my opinion.
Speaking of weaving, why didn't they do anything to the cast time for Holy 3?
I think because I don't think they care about your AoE cast time is one of the big reasons.
Yeah, I mean, they really don't. We can't even, like, you can't weave anything. Like, you can't even weave like a quick heal in there or anything. If you need to, nothing.
That's a buff to White Mage and raids though, because it's a full cast time, you can precast it during downtime and have it hit the boss for an extra 150 potency.
Fucking
Hey, I mean, it's something to catch up to the other healers because they're also kind of behind in damage as well.
Right.
Something I don't get about the lilies as well is upon death, at least now with Astros, you keep your seals. So if the lilies are so important for recovery and, MP, why do white mages not keep their lilies? That's something that needs to be changed.
Because fuck them.
Those are like my two biggest changes. Like in terms of like gameplay, like I mean, I want to see DPS neutral lilies, but like in terms of like gameplay functionality, like the two changes I want to see is like 10% on the size, and then keep lilies after death, because that would make my mage like super good at recovery, especially like post death recovery. Because like right now, like it's almost impossible to like fully recover after death with the current piety levels.
Yeah.
It's like when we were like the Moon Guard gear. When we were looking at the healers with the tome best and slot before Savage and normal, we had like really no idea how the healers really function at like minimum piety. But it's like it's pretty bad outside of Astro. Like even Scholar and Sage are pretty much unrecoverable at like min piety and high spell speed. Like you would just have to stop casting completely.
But meanwhile, Astro's like, well, fortunately for me, I have this thing called Astrodyne, and
yeah,
I'm good.
It's yeah. Well, we can get into that at some point.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we'll have to.
And then can we just get old Thin Air back, please?
I actually think the current Thin Air is better overall. They just need to fix the overall the MP issues, because I mean the Thin Air now, I think the charge system is a good idea, because it lets you space out your raises more, lets you space out your GCD heals more. The only issue is that they didn't really kind of put the MP that you're losing into something else. They just kind of, hey, we're just going to get rid of this 2-minute ability that saved you, 4 to 5 GCDs every 2 minutes, and then now you only get 1 every 60, which is technically 2 every 2 minutes. So you're losing you're pretty much losing half of Thin Air than you used to. But they didn't take that MP and put it elsewhere. They just kind of just took it away from you.
Yep.
Yeah, like it's nice when you have a Thin Air charge and you have to res. Like in that exact moment, you're like, "Thank you. I'm glad I had a charge for that." But then otherwise, it's like I'm just kind of at a deficit from where I was before. So,
and then of course the big ability, Liturgy of the Bell.
God, they change it. I'm
Lily
mad.
Bell.
Yeah, it's Lily
Correction.
Bell. I disagree with Yeah, no. Lily.
Yeah, Liturgy of the... What a mouthful.
They wanted an epic name for it.
It's decent, but my only issue with it is the fall off each tick.
Oh, you mean for the
like
final heal? Yeah.
No,
I mean, every heal is the same strength. It's just that the final result gets cut off if it doesn't get entirely used, which I don't know. I like they feels like they designed fights around things like Lilybell and Panheima. Like they definitely kept those things in mind for those abilities existing, but there are times where they feel like not as good to use.
They tried to. I don't really think there's really too many spots Lilybell's actually good outside the Enrage and before Savage.
Yeah.
Like it can be good. It's okay in the ads phase.
Yeah.
I mean, the issue is that something has to do enough damage to where it just warrants like Lilybell shining, right? Like a good example, actually, I'm sure we'll get into it later too. But Macrocosmos in P3S, right? The Death's Toll. That's a good example of Macrocosmos shining. Act 2, a good example of Macrocosmos shining. Like anything where you're just taking lots of damage and you're far away from the party, and it can just like stock up. It's just going to benefit Macrocosmos more than Lilybell. And the big issue with Lilybell is just the fact that the Y mage has to take the damage. Like that's the shining outlier outside of versus Macrocosmos. And in most cases, Macrocosmos is going to beat Lilybell just because of that factor.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Lilybell get some degree of change, because even you just not even just Macrocosmos, comparing it to something more direct like Panheima. I mean, you throw it on everyone and same deal. Anywhere they go, anyone that takes damage is getting the benefits from Panheima. Versus this, I mean, at this point, I wouldn't even be surprised if they change it to just being stacks on people instead of this little bell that actually pops up on the ground, so that anytime anyone, like just like Panheima, but for a direct heal instead. Like I wouldn't even be surprised if they just did that at all instead.
I do kind of like the unique aspect of it though. Like it is interesting to like not just like it, because if it was like Panheima and Mac Cross, like sure, just it would like all they would all just be the same, right?
Yeah.
And in that case, it's more homogenized, which usually just means it's going to be like more samey, more kind of like boring in that aspect. So I think it kind of being like a placement ability is kind of cool. It's just not really executed properly. It's like the only thing I can really think of that they could do is kind of like make it like a trigger system too, where like your Lilybell kind of like turns into like maybe like a horoscope ability where it kind of completely changes the action to where like you can press it again and like have it pop a lily, press it again, have it pop a lily, so you can kind of like manually trigger it as well as auto procking. Like maybe something like that could be cool too. I don't know.
Does it fall off if you die? Because I know Macrocosmos doesn't.
I think it does.
Yeah, I think it does too.
Because like that sucks.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I've had the Astro die to the Fountain of Fire, but then the Cosmos still goes off and like and saves someone, or dies during Death's Toll and then goes off during and saves everybody. It's pretty good. I like it. Yeah, there's a few things. I mean, even the Lilybell could almost be like the Dark Knight Shadow, but just like use White Mage abilities itself.
Yeah, it could just like manually proc like a bell every like 4 seconds or something, like or 5 seconds or even 3 seconds.
Yeah. So there's places they can go with it, but I think White Mage is the one that I'm looking at most in 6.08. But seriously, they need to take the button bloat down on Astro. That needs to.
Honestly, all I'm hearing though about White Mage is you should all just play Astro. I'm sorry. Y'all just need to leave White Mage for now.
Yeah.
I feel like Astro beats it in almost like every way except for the button bloat.
I think White Mage is okay. I don't think it's like awful. Like it does have the MP issues, but it's like okay, it's kind of like the same thing back in Shadowbringers. Like in regards to its damage, at least, its damage is actually pretty good in the Party Finder. I think it's actually higher than Astro's because, well, generally going to be higher than Astro, just because Astro's damage is super reliant on how good your party is. And like last expansion, people kind of memed on White Mage's damage, but White Mage arguably did way more damage than both Scholar and Astro and Party Finder, just because it doesn't rely on other people to do that damage, right? They would like see speed kill logs, like optimization logs, where you would wipe if somebody made a mistake or somebody died. And in Party Finder, realistically, you're not really going to get that experience. So I think kind of like it's the same thing with Sage too. Like Sage and White Mage, they kind of pull ahead in that Party Finder scenario, just because they don't have to rely on the people to do damage on the raid. But it's like somebody dies, boom, divination's cut in half for that person. If they're a good card target, boom, now you have to either move your card to somebody else or just take that reduced damage cost. Same thing with Scholar too. Scholar, less people doing damage on the chain because they have weakness or they die during it. So I think it's not too bad in Party Finder. It does kind of fall behind it does kind of fall behind in the static setting, yeah, but
Glare Mage.
Yeah.
So we won't call it White Mage.
I mean, it's a Glare Mage as much as like Broil Mage or like Dosis Mage.
No.
Dosis. No, they're Phlegma Mage.
Sorry, Glare Mage.
Yep.
I prefer Phlegma.
For now.
Phlegma Mage for Sage.
Yep.
But I mean, in reality, in Party Finders, like the majority of people playing in this game are going to be doing it in Party Finder rather than like a static setting. Like I would say probably like, I don't know the exact numbers, but I would say it's probably anywhere from like a 70-80 Party Finder to like a 10-20% static split. So I think taking balance in Party Finder into account is pretty big, because I mean that's always been the same thing in this game. Like people focus too much on like the static / optimization meta, and they kind of ignore how good jobs are in Party Finder. It was the same thing back in Stormblood too. Like Black Mage and Samurai were really good back in Stormblood in the Party Finder. Like they could carry parties like through Enrages just because they did way more damage than like Ninja and Dragoon did. Because those jobs rely on like good play, people playing under their raid buffs.
Yeah, I always tell people that in Shadowbringers, I know Dancer was super popular for prog. Bard was good. It was a really good prog job, but people just didn't like playing it. But I said people slept on Machinist for the same reason, because a lot of early clears, especially either in the Party Finder or in your static, somebody screws up. People aren't making use of raid buffs as good as they possibly could, and in that scenario, if you are really good at the job that just benefits from raid buffs, then that gives you a lot more agency, a lot more power.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just saying white mage does fill that in the case of going into the party finder.
Yeah, it does. It's going to do. Generally, it's good. Like, it's not always going to do more damage because, like, you may get lucky and get like that really good party finder group. Like, pretty much my only content in this game, right, is pretty much just helping people clear fights, going in the party finder, doing stuff like that. And sometimes you do get lucky. You do get that good party. You have some good damage dealers, no deaths. Then Astrologian will probably be white mage, but in most cases, I feel like generally white mage is going to pull ahead very slightly, at least in the damage compartment, just because it's you're not always going to have that clean run.
No, most of the time you won't. Sometimes even in the statics, you're like, "Hey, re-clear day. This will be great."
P3S.
For us, it was P2. I don't think we've done flow 3 because we just keep like killing it like a few seconds after. So like, where do we go? What are we doing? I'm like, just tank LB. Just please. Just tank LB. I don't do this anymore. All right. So speaking of which, we should probably talk about some of the individual encounters because this was a pretty interesting first year. I guess even before getting into healers, is there anything in particular you want to say about this tier? Last week we covered first impressions of it. So just a quick, first impression of the tier overall, I suppose, before we get started. I should
It was like, wait, I think
everyone's trying to be polite.
Yeah, I was. You want to go first? I can go first. I mean,
Yeah, you go first.
I thought it was good. 11 or sorry, I don't know. I said 11. I'm still stuck in promise, I guess. P3 I thought was really good. For a third turn fight, it's probably one of the better. It's even better than E11, I think, in terms of healing. There was a lot of damage, and there's also a lot of one-shot AoEs, which I don't think there was any in E11. Thinking back, I'm trying to think. Was there any one-shot AoEs?
I think
no.
I think it was just a dot.
Yeah.
It was just the stupid burn.
Yeah, but that didn't kill you if you didn't like mitigate it right away. But like,
yeah, no.
There's like 2 or 3 AoEs in that fight, which will just one-shot you without any mitigation. I think that's nice, and that actually persists in the first turn. The one that changes the arena, Slam Dunk, I think that will kill you without any mitigation, especially at mid-eye level. So, like, I'm kind of glad, especially for a first turn. I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy for a first turn because I don't think we've ever had that high hitting AoE outside of like Dimensional Shift, but that was like percent based. But yeah, I was really impressed. The final fight's also pretty good from a healing perspective too. So I'm pretty happy.
I think Midna's reading chat also.
Isn't that what's called? Slam Dunk?
Slam
we should
Shot.
change it.
My bad.
Slam Dunk. That's a
I don't
way
read the
better
ability
skill
names.
You've been listening to too much Come On and Slam remixes of songs.
I usually look at like
there's a brand new one. There's a Papaya remix of it. So
I usually look at like the first letter and then like I just associate that with like the AoE like or the first word of it. I just like, I see slam. I don't read the rest. I just see slam. Like, okay,
I just see the wrong word.
AoE.
At least you see the right word. I saw like Heat of Condemnation. I thought it was Heart of Condemnation for the longest. I just can't read it. So there's that as well, I suppose. Yeah. Okay, so overall good first impression from a healer perspective, like before going in too much into the individuals. Okay. Midna, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, healing it is fine. It's been enjoyable. P3S and P4S actually surpassed my expectations a little bit. It was a lot more fun than I thought. I know everyone knew that P3S was going to be spicy, but I thought I was going to hate it. But I actually think it's my favorite fight because of how crazy it gets. So
it helps when you just take 3 of people's favorite third fights of all time and just shove it into one fight. That probably helps a little bit. They're like, here's a little of A3, here's a little of Cruise Chaser, here's a little bit of what's another one they take? Oh, turn 12. Let's just take all these. I'll take all these. I'll put them over here. That'll be good. Okay.
Yeah, healing it was a lot more enjoyable. So then E11. If I had to compare the two, I hated E11 with a passion.
Oh yeah, we'll get to
Really?
comparing those two. Yeah,
Yeah.
week 1.
Why?
I had a feeling week 1 healing E11 was going to be an opinion.
I did YMH Scholar, so I mean it was a little bit more enjoyable. That's probably why it was a bit more enjoyable for me. I didn't do Astro. I'm assuming Astro probably.
I mean, if I had the kit that I have now going into E11, I think it would be more enjoyable. But what I had on Shadowbringers, it was annoying as hell healing it, especially getting to cycles week 1. Oh my god.
Oh, we had Astro Scholar. I remember. I remember their words.
Not good times.
Well, we can start with something a little bit less traumatic in that of P1S. This is our introduction into the Savage Raid tier for Endwalker. And I don't know about all of you, but when I first thought of this fight, I thought this was going to be Alt-Roy 2.0. I didn't think they'd put any
Everybody did
in it. Yeah, I was like, that's it. We're gonna slap Eric Tony right here, and that'll be the end of it. And I don't think that was the case. No. So
yeah, I didn't think I thought it was gonna be pretty easy too. They kind of blindsided, like, I feel like most players, like, added like a lot of new mechanics that they don't normally do. Because usually, like, the first turn is kind of just like a copycat with like without like telegraphs, but this one was like, you know, there was a lot different.
Yeah, doing the normal fights, I was like really like underwhelmed. But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, Square Enix better have something up their sleeve for all of these fights, and I think they do. I think they're hiding a lot of what is to come for Savage, and yeah, I was pretty surprised, especially with the fucking chains. Doing those for the first time, oh my god. I'm like, where the fuck do I go? Everyone's telling me like, Midna in, Midna out, go here, go there, switch with this person for fucking chains. And I was like, just tell me, please. I don't know what to do.
that was going to be my next question, is about mechanics, specifically mechanics that you're noticing made your life worse in there, whether it be as a healer or just overall. I suppose would be just fine. And I think I've got your answer at this point, Midna.
I mean, all of them other mechanics are fine. Just the chains, I did not. Oh my god.
Momo.
I guess like I'm a masochist for mechanics like that, because like I like, my favorite healing mechanics are mechanics where like there's like either like a lot of movement or people like spread out. And P1 I feel like did that pretty well. Like the first Intemperance, whew, that's spicy, because there's like 3 AoEs back to back doing that, and especially if you're not ready for it, you're just kind of like doing the mechanic, you're trying to focus on the mechanic. Like people can easily die there if you're not paying attention. On top of like you can
and do
and what?
And they do.
And they do.
They do.
Oh yeah, and they do. Yeah. That's why I was kind of let down. Like the second Intemperance is like so much easier compared to the first one in terms of healing. There's no AoEs outside the fire and ice going off.
We're not confused.
Well, I mean, it's just
fucking confused.
It's because the first one has like the 3 Wardens rafts, and then the second one just has the in and out. So it's just like, there's like nothing there, which was kind of a let down to me personally.
Yeah, like with the first Intemperance, it's easier to confuse because it's like, you know, elemental hit, AoE, and then somebody gets confused, like, which one was it? Do I still have my element? Am I gonna fuck up? Probably gonna fuck up. Yeah, I probably.
I've heard that under whisper before. I was like, oh, I think I fucked this up. Oh shit,
I fucked this up. Yeah, I fucked this up. Yeah, I'm dead. You just have to tell them, you know, I'm here, but I'm dead. I'm dead.
I'm here, but I'm dead is honestly the best thing you need to hear in Intemperance if somebody's gonna mess it up. You don't want to hear I'm dead and then see them go into the wall, be like, no, we could have done it. And I've seen that happen too.
Speaking of Intemperance, I mean, that's a good spot for Lilybell too.
Yeah, because actually the explosions, that they do a little bit of damage, but it'll proc Lilybell on top of the Water's Wraths. So
if you time it properly, it probably lasts for most of the mechanic.
15 seconds also. Lilybell's kind of short. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing in Macrocosmos, though. I mean, Macrocosmos is also like extremely strong there. Like you just go in, you pop it in the middle, and then boom, it just auto pops after 15 seconds, and you're probably fine.
It's better. Sorry. There we go.
Was that a yawn or like an impression? Yeah. Oh, okay.
There you go.
I don't like your Joe impression, I think.
My who impression?
Isn't it Joe?
What?
From Family Guy, isn't it? Isn't his name Joe?
Oh, Joe. Yeah. No. Hey, Peter. You mean that guy? Yeah.
Yeah. It sounded exactly like that when you yawned. Also, I was holding back. So you say thank you.
Okay. From a Joe Mama joke.
Yeah.
I thought there was going to be a joke in there somewhere, but you know.
No, I was actually being serious.
Okay. Very unlike you. Anyway. So. Okay, yeah, so there's that. Yeah, I guess other than that, at the very least, it doesn't seem like there's anything too much that throws people for a loop. It's really the other roles that kind of are pushed to be a little more annoyed. Tanks, obviously, a little more annoyed. Tanks have to do a little bit of work here between the swaps and the flares. I've seen so many tanks die to that flare if they don't have an invuln, and they're just like, all right, I'm going to get uptime on the and I'm dead. Which I'm sure is frustrating as a healer, but more frustrating as a tank. Tanks don't join P1Ss anymore.
They don't. I was gonna say that. Like, yeah, I tank is like always the last role to fill. It takes me like 30 minutes to fill a P1S party.
It's because they know that they might get a damage down. They know that no matter what, they're on the chopping block damage down wise.
Yeah.
Even if you say you're not doing it, they're probably thinking to themselves like, I remember the last party I joined that said they were doing the swap.
That's funny.
The fact that y'all trust people. Man.
I don't. I'm on DPS right now, dude. I want to go healer in Party Finder so bad right now because I'm like, I need to know. I need to know it's safe. I can't. Second wind isn't saving me anymore. Oh man. Are you gonna say something, Momo?
No, I was laughing.
I thought you said something before that. Okay, never mind.
I don't remember. I don't think so. Nothing important.
Okay, that's fine. I'll take it. Yeah, and other than that, again, I don't think there's much to talk about. P2S, on the other hand, man, I was doing some P2S in the Party Finder earlier, and healing in this fight is what's the word I want to use for it?
Please faint, please addle.
I feel like there's like always a heal forgotten, if that makes sense. I call it P2Ss where heals go missing. I suppose. I don't know. It just always feels like I'm looking at my health and I'm like, that'll get fixed in time.
I mean, P2 is another fight which surprisingly has a lot of damage in it, especially like Sewage Deluge.
Delugi.
Delugi, yeah. That how much mid do you need? 10% plus shields?
Something like
20%?
that. I think you can do Addle reprisal shields and you'll survive.
Yeah, but that's a lot for a second turn though. Like that's like a final turn usually kind of mitigation. Like I was surprised. I think we actually died to that our first pull.
We definitely died to it our first pull.
Especially in Party Finder.
Yeah, because you can't rely on addles and reprisals in Party Finder. I have to save Troubadour just to be safe, and I don't want to use it on the third one in particular. So that's always a bit of a scary risk. Yeah, so going into the second fight, I don't know. I was afraid of it going from normal to savage overall. I don't know if you two had the same kinds of fears as healers, because normal mode's a little... It's a time.
Spicy, yeah.
Yeah. It's a little spicy.
I thought P2 was going to be the turn that had the most to change, and I was actually really surprised that there's pretty much nothing changed. Yeah. Also, like we kind of called that a platform would be broken. We actually thought all the sewage gates on the line sewage gates we thought they would actually just disappear completely, just be like the square platforms at some point. So, but I was really surprised they didn't do that. But yeah, P2 in terms of normal, I think had the least to change overall mechanically. They actually got rid of mechanics. Remember the stack mechanic? We had to stack on two people. What's it called? The fear? I don't know what's called.
They took the
Doritos.
Yeah, they replaced that with predatory avarice because that was predatory sight. They replaced it with predatory avarice. Yeah, no, I remember that.
They got rid of that.
Yeah. That's fine, but in terms of like healing it, because like I mean, in normal mode, like I said, it was a little chaotic. It was a little spicy to heal. Did that carry into the second fight in any capacity?
Yeah, I think all of the fights have been quite spicy to heal, surprisingly. I mean, I noticed how hard things were hitting from the dungeons, and I'm like, okay, like they're
Mm-hmm.
really making us heal now. Like, all right, feel the challenge. So yeah, it's definitely carried over to normal and savage. So yeah, everything just hits hard.
That's fair. Not extremes though.
No. Do they? No.
No, no.
Extreme, like normal and savage, sure, but not extremes. No, not the in between. Those didn't require any healing. That was I pressed Panheima and I'm done.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, I was pretty surprised with the extremes because I'm like, I'm healing more in dungeons than I am in the extremes. I'm like, I expected some
You actually,
crazy AoEs like coming into extremes, but I'm just like, all right, I'll just follow the Dorito and Zodiac and chill.
Extremes were surprisingly a lot done. I was actually really nervous for Savage because the way they did extreme healing, there was like no healing in extremes. I was really surprised when Savage came around because like, if extreme is anything to go off of, then I mean, let's just hope that they change it for Savage, and they did. Savage healing is astronomically better than what we got in the extremes.
And
I think the only the only healing intensive thing in Zodiac, I guess, is the first mechanic but Macrocosmos done.
Oh, the bleed.
Yeah, and then just what's it called? The stack where you get hit like 6 times.
That's the Panheima. That's the Panheima mechanic.
I think the biggest issue with that is just like you hit, like outside the Phobos dot, like there's really nothing else to heal in between that. So like you could just have like your whole healing toolkit for like every other healing intensive mechanic, and it would just kind of like neutralize it a little bit.
Yeah, everything was chill in between, but if you got to sticks in the end and people were running around or dead, like you're done. Goodbye.
That's probably I don't think I ever saw the sticks at the end.
Yeah, it's like 11 hits at the end. So.
Oh, is it really?
It can wipe your party.
What? 11?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, because it starts as 5, and then I think he uses it. He might only be 10 hits. I think he uses it 5 more times. Because every time he uses it, it's +1. So it's like
I kind of like interactions like that.
Yeah, I do too. It's a shame that we don't see them too often. I thought for sure we'd see a ton of those here because they did them in both Hydaelyn and Zodiac. The repeated stack hits, and here they're just like, no, we're gonna make you just don't screw this up or you die. That's really.
It really felt like they made that for. It really does feel like they just made that to show off the 3 new capstone abilities or the 2 new capstone abilities in Panheima.
Yeah,
it was like, hey, we're gonna make a mechanic where you can actually utilize this.
But with P2S, one big thing that I'm sure adds a bit of either frustration or fun, I guess, depending on how much of a masochist you are, is the arena shape. There are mechanics that put people all over the arena, and Momo, I know you're a fan of those, but did that arena shape cause any headaches or problems for healing that, or do you think that it does for some people?
I was a scholar, so I'm just laughing.
You just put the fairy in the middle and
I just put the fairy in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really strong. I'm sorry. Can't hear you. I'm on the other side of the arena healing.
Yeah, I mean, at times the only issue would be, I guess, travel at certain points in it because of the arena.
You mean just like running around?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm a bard. I don't know what that's like.
I just pressed rune 2. I'm fine.
No, weave broil.
No,
No.
That was one thing that was like really underutilized. This rune 2 is just so good on scholar for like progression and stuff like that. It was super nice.
No, you have to use broil.
No, I'm using rune 2. I use rune 2.
They're all gonna get match.
Do about it. I'm just sorry. Sorry.
It's okay. I forgive. Minute, you are on Astro, so I'd imagine your star being as big as it is probably also helped reduce the stress of this arena. It's just this arena shape is such a major factor for so many people for this encounter.
Yeah, no, it was an issue. I mean, like I said, horoscope, star, they can go butt fuck everywhere, and I don't care. They're gonna be fine. Like they'll get healed. Like I have no problem. So
Do you think that this kind of design, because we have this weird arena, the way it's used for the mechanics, but yet they seem to have given healers ways to completely manage this sort of arena, do you think they start kind of taking liberties that are more like this, where they try to, obviously it still doesn't diverge from being squares, rectangles, circles, whatever, the shapes we're used to, but it takes liberties in terms of the overall arena design. Do you think they move towards that a little bit with some of the increase to the range so that it's possible to reach people in kind of weird spots?
I mean, I don't think every healer has an option. Like they do, but they also don't at the same time. Like Scholar and Astro in particular that's a huge advantage for arenas like that, because they're the only healers that can reliably do it like consistently. Like both Sage can only use Panheima, which is a 2-minute cooldown, which you're not always going to have at certain spots of the fight. And then White Mage's only option of healing far away is, Lilybell, which is an even longer cooldown of 3 minutes. So like you're not always going to have these options, and because they're restricted to these long cooldowns, and I mean, Panheima itself is also not even super strong, right? Like it's a 2-minute cooldown. You have to get hit 5 times to even get almost the full value. 6 technically if you want to get the 1300 potency. I'd have to check. I don't remember the exact total amount of potency, but that's a lot of hits, and it's kind of the same boat as Lilybell, where it gets cut in half for the actual heal itself. 1200 potency for the full effect. So I don't think they're super strong, and I think arenas like that are definitely an advantage for Scholar Astro, because they can, like, Astro has horoscope. They can even neutral sec shields and have people spread out. They have Macrocosmos. They have Star. Like they have a lot. One thing I'm actually hoping for talking about this is I hope they kind of buff Soil and Asylum's radius.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big issue I think now, especially with. I think they should, especially with the way Scholar and Sage, like comparing the two, like Caracoli to Soil, like 9 out of 10 times Caracoli, 9.9 out of 10 times it's gonna be Caracoli over Soil.
Do you think we get a star-sized Soil?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Fucking Electrodome right here for the fucking Technodrome right here for fucking Soil.
I wouldn't be surprised. The only issue is I don't know how they would balance the coloring, right? Because they nerf Star a little bit.
After P3S, do you really think they give a shit about balancing the color?
Yeah, because I mean they nerf Star. The explosion isn't as bright, and it's like kind of like transparent now. They'd have to do the same for Scholar's Soil and Asylum's White Mage. Or White Mage's Asylum.
Wait, what? I don't even know what you just said.
I think you had them right.
Did you say the Sage's Scholar's White Mage? I don't.
No, I said the Scholar's Soil and the White. I said Asylum's White Mage. Like Asylum.
Yeah, you had that right. You had that right.
It's like how people say how's Trick Attack doing when referring to like the ninja.
Yeah,
it's like the same thing with like White Mage, I guess.
I don't think I've ever heard them call is the asylum showing up to raid tonight. although they might be crazy at that point, so maybe they need an asylum. Oh man, yeah. I thought that P2S. I thought the arena shape made healing, especially with Flow 3. I noticed a lot of healers panic in Party Finder with Flow 3, whether it be from Mitt or topping people up from the hit plus the actual coherence plus the split dance. I just don't see people do Flow 3 properly very often. That's
the one with the laser beam, right?
Yeah, that's the one that does coherence at the same time. It's a lot of damage back to back. The hits, the coherence, and then the laser, and then another hit from Flow.
Mm-hmm.
God, we needed so much.
Tank LB it.
We needed so much mitigation there. Holy shit!
That's one thing. See, that's the thing where like Scholar trivialized a lot of mechanics this tier, which is add low deploy. Like it's definitely underrated how strong that can be. Like it's just so easy to funnel healing into it, right? Like just min, mantra, protraction. Like if you have a warrior, you can thrill for an extra 20% too. And you just deploy that shield, boom. Act 2 solve. Laser beam mechanic solve. Like there's just so many big hits this tier that Adlo just kind of cheeses.
I feel like people are really allergic to tank L being Flow 3.
Oh yeah.
Whether it be 1 or 3, it doesn't matter. Tank LBs people are kind of overly allergic to overall because they're like, no, we can't kill the boss without damage. And it's like,
This is a clear party. We shouldn't need healer LB or tank LB to clear. You know what's really funny? I have a funny story. Kind of irrelevant, but
That's fine.
We were doing, I think it was Ramu, and I was like, we need a healer LB. And he was like, this person was like, no, we can't healer LB because this is a clear party. We should be using it on DPS LB. And then our actual clear pool, it wasn't the clear pool, but the actual clear pool, we had the healer LB. And then we cleared. And this person was just like super quiet after that. It was a very good foot and mouth moment.
It's funny because when somebody is like, oh, just tank LB, the two melees look at each other and they're like,
are you going to do it?
Yep.
Yeah, I had that moment in Medion during the, like, one of the tanks have to LB3 or whatever.
Oh, no.
And no one did it. It's clipped. It's so funny. And yeah, because like we used the LB prior, but you get it back, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me. So I was like, oh, okay, we might be screwed. But then we got LB back. And I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to be good. And then I was like, the power of friendship. And then just wipe. Blackness. I'm like, oh. So yeah, that's how allergic they are to using tank LB. I don't know why.
Some don't even have it on their hotbar.
Yeah, a lot of them don't.
Neither tank, clearly.
Yeah, I think I've seen a lot of A12S's or A12 normals back in the day. Or right now, if you get it in Raid Roulette, and you're like, please. Not to mention, I've had on Endsinger, I've had people melee LB the ad because they know we get it back, but then new players not know, players who didn't know you get it back. Jump off.
They start freaking out?
Yeah, they start freaking out. They're like, oh, we wipe. I might as well just jump off.
We're done.
Yeah.
Just reset, guys.
People. All right, well, moving from P2S into P3S, I think, fucking Astro, man.
I like the fight.
I'm sure you do, Midna. I'm sure you
like
love this fight.
How about you guys?
I love it when there's an Astro in my party. It's okay outside of that, but it's really good with an Astro in the party, that I can say. This fight is nonstop. Like we mentioned earlier, this is a pretty fast-paced third fight that's just kind of always throwing stuff for everyone to do.
Oh, we don't have an Astro. Shit.
He's just checking his raid team like, do we have an Astro? Shit. You'll be fine without one. They just it's one button versus both the healers needing to do 3 GCDs. No biggie, right?
Yeah, I mean, we did a Scholar Sage. It was fine. Yeah. It's just a couple extra GCDs.
Yeah. Versus one ability that they casted 10 seconds
Yeah,
before.
versus one ability. I mean,
yeah, no biggie. But did you feel as busy as it felt like a lot of the other roles where I've talked to tanks? They said they felt it was an incredibly engaging encounter. DPS are all over the place, just trying not to kill everyone else by accident. For healers, does it kind of does it tick any of those particular boxes that make you enjoy the role?
There's a lot of healing.
That would tick a box. Indeed.
I healed.
That would be the name of the
I
role.
healed. It's like the minimum requirement.
I healed, smile.
I don't think it's fair to say we had. I mean, tanks in that fight have the hardest role. Like they have to do everything. Like I don't think healers really have to do much outside of just heal and stand in this dark fire spot. And
Asking
Fountain of
healers to
Fire.
heal is a big ask sometimes
Actually,
nowadays.
I would say healing was the easiest role in that fight. Like we don't have to do pretty much any mechanic outside just heal. Because like Fountain of Fire, like we stand in a puddle for like 20 seconds and just keep kind of rotating between each one. It's like,
And then we get a buff.
yeah, and it's like tanks and melees, they have to like dip and dodge the birds, they keep, point them across, all that stuff. Tanks have to like move the birds, have to do everything to grab tethers. Like it's just, he doesn't really do too much in that fight mechanically, I feel. He just kind of stood still and healed and dodged and healed.
And let me tell you, you got to do a lot of that all the same. I mean, it's just in terms of just strict healing. It's asking a decent chunk of your role, I'd at least say. Just not for you to do like the same mechanics as everyone else. Just asking you to be responsible for you.
One thing I really like about that fight is the continuous dot damage from the firestorm. I thought that was really cool because it's really easy to actually die in the tornado phase specifically because every 5 to 10 seconds, I don't know the exact timing, but periodically you're going to take like anywhere from like a 5k dot damage, which is going to wipe your shields, and it's something that can actually kill you because the stack and spread mechanic does a lot of damage and it can easily one-shot you if you don't have like mitigation or you're not top completely.
Sorry. She wanted attention, but now she wants me to follow her. Come up here, Ivy. Come on up. No, don't do this. Don't do the thing where you go in and out of the door a billion times. I'm gonna lose my mind. She just. My cats hate that closed door. Stop.
Open door policy with cats.
They do have an open door policy, much to my annoyance, because if I close it, she'll scratch it. Oh, cats. So yeah, Midna, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the continuous damage going out. It's like kind of minimal, but if you're not paying attention to it or like staying on top of healing and shielding, then someone could easily die or you could wipe. I have yet to like actually go into Party Finder as a healer and see like how like chaotic it can be. But for me, like currently everything's been pretty chill. So I feel like I might change my mind later when I go into PF and see what happens with everyone else. But yeah,
Party Fighter's hectic.
it is. I mean, that's what I love. I love the memes of Party Fighters.
Bare minimum Party Finder griefing for healer I've seen is that tanks to ignore the fact that they're both getting autoed and they're just like, I don't need to use my
Oh my
god.
You don't see
that's a bitch.
Yeah, you don't see as many bloodweddings, or you don't see Dark Knights off tanks using Dark Mind on the auto. On the bird.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, that would probably piss me off because like they're already getting hit pretty hard, and I'm like using everything in my kit just so that I can keep them alive while DPSing. So that's probably DPSing during ad phase in PF is probably not an option.
I'm P3S did a very good job at balancing tank damage. Kind of reminded me of Voidwalker a little bit. Voidwalker is also a really good tank fight for incoming tank damage. We actually progged that fight with a paladin. Oh my god, dude, they would get smashed so hard on those busters. It was so annoying because the second they went Gunbreaker, like a reclear, completely changed.
Reminds me, for our week 2, Zeph went paladin. He's like, we don't need my warrior DPS anymore. And then the warrior just dropped. He's like, guess I'm going back to that until paladin sword drops now. Perfect. Oh, paladin.
The tank damage in that fight was really good. Big fan.
A few more days, paladin. A few more days.
Yeah, we'll see. Nah, I'm not expecting much, but we'll see.
No, believe. Momo, please.
Where's your copium?
Wait,
there's no way they buff at the Dark Knight Gunbreaker levels. No shot.
All right, copium. Copium has been obtained. Ivy. Oh. Ivy.
Uh-oh.
No.
And lost copium.
No, that's not the copium. That's something else. But no, that's okay. Nothing spilled. Oh, it's because she made me get up and knock something over. This is your fault, Ivy. Take my. I'm just, even when this can's empty, I'm keeping it. Just, it's worth it. Yeah, that's the hopium bottle over there. Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing. You keep talking about how the healers, you really feel like you didn't have to do much, but again, it just keeps feeling like your role was pushed. This is an unusual fight in that normally you third fights are pretty good. Like E11, like I mentioned earlier with Midna, or like Midna was talking about, and I was going to bring it up. The week 1 healing of E11 I remember being intense, but only at a specific point. This is pretty nonstop.
I don't know if I would say. I mean, the after As phase was intense. As phase and after was intense. I don't know if the first couple minutes of the fight were that bad. I can't really remember too much. Yeah,
it's not the worst. It's a lot of tank busters. Is the big.
Yeah, thing. It's a lot. It is a lot. It is like 3 or 4 tank busters back to back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thankfully, there's not double autos during that point though, so it's not as hard to maintain because you can just kind of focus the main tank, and as long as the off tank doesn't die, they're not going to take an auto.
Yeah, but I mean, then I see the thing is I want to talk about mechanics, and then I realize we have Astro. You're an Astro. I can't even be like, yeah, this was pretty difficult. You know, Death's Toll is, you know, if you think about it, healing down, and you got to be max health, and she's just like, see this button?
Just right one macrocosmos. Done.
Done. It's crazy to me that ability, because they knew. It's not like they didn't know Macrocosmos.
I don't think they knew. That's something. I don't think that's something you kind of figure out. I mean, that's probably something you think about, like maybe when you're not like blind progging. But when we stumbled upon that, I'm pretty sure it was a complete accident. Like, it was not. We didn't actually intend to do that
immediately. But I was like, "Can't you microcosmos that?" And we went probably, but then we didn't do it week 1 anyway. Even though we had said it's like,
what?
Yeah, we didn't do it because I forgot where microcosmos was being used at that point, but it was on cooldown for something else we were doing week 1, and then week 2, as soon as we went back in, it was like, "Yep, this is what we were supposed to do." Week 1. No, I really do think that they fully knew it was going to work that way. They had to.
I feel like there's too much of a discrepancy, or else they wouldn't design the mechanic like that, personally. Because like the discrepancy between Astro and the other healers is just, it's way too much. Like even if it's just like it's not like, even though like it's just like a couple extra GCDs, it's the timing of those GCDs that matter too. It's just like, because like trying to get them off is also pretty intense.
Yeah, you do not have a lot of time. You have like 6 seconds or something.
It's just like I think it's a little more than that. I don't remember.
Maybe. I just remember it being very Ivy. Can't win. It's always something. Can't win with these cats. Oh, but it's I don't know. I got to get in there and heal it for myself, because I feel like you both underplay how intense that fight could be for healers.
No, I don't underplay. I think it's definitely intense. I'm just saying it's
not that.
I didn't say it wasn't intense. No, I said no. I'm talking about mechanically. Like healers in that fight don't really do much, and I guess it's like, do you want to bring up the point of is it good balance for healers not to do any mechanics, to just stand still and heal? I don't think so. I think healers should. I think it's
good once in a while, because it's just the game. The game is always such a mixed bag for healers. You know what I mean? Like we've had entire savage tiers in fights that you don't even understand why they make healers the way that they make them. Like if you look,
we know that we know that from a previous interview so far that Yoshi has said like one of the reasons why they don't give like healers too much responsibility like mechanically is just because they have to heal, right? They want to push too much of a burden onto a job, like one specific job like healer, where they have to keep the party alive and do these like intense mechanics. So like we have like an idea or like a kind of like a door into their insight, but I guess for a third turn, you're right. I mean, I guess it's fine that it works like that. I guess like what I'm thinking is more like a final turn, like kind of like Hello World, I guess, is a good example of a.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's an intense. That's probably one of the best mechanics they've made for healers. It's a very good mechanic.
It's a very scary one. Although if you did Hello World with what we have now, it'd be a much different story.
Oh yeah, it's definitely at the time.
Yeah, it was ahead of its time. Well, speaking of final fights, we do have this one. Hesperos. We have phase 1 and we have phase 2. Phase 1, in terms of healing, I felt, at least in my prog, that it was a lot of everything hit a little bit harder than I think people were expecting. Blood rakes in particular being something that seemed such a gentle animation for something that rips people apart. From what I recall, was there any?
I would just die.
Yeah, you just die.
I think the first one, I would like pull, and then I'd just be DPSing. The first blood rate goes on, and I'm just dead on the floor. I'm like, oh, that's with like shields too.
Yeah. So did you find that was kind of a frequent problem when you first went in, that it caught you a little off guard in that sense, where people just dying in places where you really didn't think that was going to be the death, but it just scaled up.
It's very casual,
yeah. Yeah, just a casual like 2 or 3 deaths.
In, like, yeah. So yeah, I mean, as a pure healer now, I just literally watch people drop like flies, and I'm like, well, like mitigation, guys. Like I can't help you. Like I've done everything I possibly could. So I don't want to be popping neutral sect in the beginning. You know, like it just. I want it for other things. So the fact that I was even considering like popping everything just for that first blood rake, I was like, please no, don't make me do this. My opener's already so clunky. Like I can't.
Just make sure you hit everyone with collective during the opener. No problem, right?
No, sometimes I still die. It was just me that was dying. I tried multiple things, and like sometimes I would just fall flat, and I'm like, okay, well, guys, please use something.
What about you, Momo?
I mean, the door fight's much easier to heal than Promise was. Promise is on another level healing wise. But that fight was still really hard to heal. And I don't want to say, well, I don't know, hard, but there was a large amount of healing going out, right? I think my first clear, I just had to check it real quick, did like 10 suckers or something, which isn't, that's not a small amount for a 7-minute fight. I think in the final fight, I did like 20 to 30, somewhere between there. But for like the door fight, on top of like all the Aetherflow healing we had to do as well, like it wasn't just like a complete like, hey, we're just going to 0 GC to heal this fight, like something like, I don't know, first phase Shiva or something where you kind of just use, you know, maybe 2 to 3 GCD heals and like a bunch of off GCDs. But we also do a Scholar Astro. Obviously, it's going to change with like some like White Mage, where they can't really do as much healing as Astro can because they just pump out Star, Celestial Opposition, CU, Macrocosmos, all those really strong skills. But the really, I don't want to say, it's the really interesting thing that kind of shines in the door boss is 2 specific things. One, the complete RNG of who takes damage. Now that's really annoying, but also really fun because you can sometimes have a really good pattern where you don't have to heal at all. An example is DPS take everything because that means the healers and tanks are getting targeted for every single blood rake, right? Or you could have a pattern where DPS take tethers and healer tanks take debuff, and at that point everyone's taking damage and you need to top off the DPS because they're taking the tether damage. So you have that kind of interaction on top of something like Pnax where you're taking 4 different potentially 4 different sets of mechanics, right? You're taking lightning plus poison / spread, you're taking water plus poison / spread, and those are changing because it can be water first or lightning first. So that kind of changes the tempo of the healing and how much damage you're taking at any given time, which can kind of change your heal plan. And then that also kind of interacts at the very end of the fight where if it's spread second going into the enrage, I don't know if you had deaths to that, but we definitely had a death or 2 to that where it was spread straight into the deck collection or whatever the AoE is called. And that would just destroy like anybody who was like too far away.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a good healing fight. The first phase at least for sure. Second phase too, but we're not talking about that right now.
We will be soonish, but I'm always impressed at how healers have to plan around things for stuff like this because all I see is I see room wide, blood rake, move for this, move for that. Did you have tethers? Did you have poison? And I'm like, y'all saints for taking care of us during all this. I'm gonna do what I can for you. Where do you want my troop? Tell me. Just tell me where you want it, and I'll do it for you. Because it's just it's I don't know. I'm always impressed. I've healed fights like this before, but I still like when I think about the early weeks, I know by the time I go to do it, it's not these types of weeks anymore. I think a lot of people forget that when they talk about even just comparing like calling White Mage Glare Mage, for example. Like when you're brand new to a fight, you're probably not as much of a Glare Mage as you are when you're an item level 590, 595, 600. You know what I mean? And so these early weeks really make or break healers, I feel like.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask about Pnax in particular, but it seems like you've already covered the sheer variety of ways that you have to handle that, because that was something that we noticed big time was whether the spreads were first or last. I mean, no matter what, things came with headaches in Pnax, and I feel like they will always. I don't think that ever stops being a headache for people, whether it be healing or mechanically, because this definitely asks healers to do more mechanically. Like this, they can have as much responsibility as everyone else here. It seems, at least compared to P3S, where you said it was less so.
Yeah, no, progging P4S and doing Pinax or whatever, it people get disoriented like crazy, and I'm just like, I can't heal you. Like, you're just bye. Like the moment I see someone get disoriented, and like when we were progging, I'm like, I know you're gonna die. Just whatever. Just bye.
When it says westerly shift and you see them running east, and you're like,
I'm like, yeah, you do you.
Nothing we can do.
All right.
Yeah.
Momo.
Hi.
You were gonna say something.
No, it was in the moment. I was talking in the moment.
You were talking in the moment.
Yeah, the moment. Yeah. I was like, heal them.
Like this.
What do you mean? Why am I like this? How dare you?
Mechanically, though, it was fun. I actually really liked the door boss mechanics, mainly because I'm a huge Halicarnassus fan. So it was nice to see references to her because she's forever my favorite.
They were missing the Conal. They were missing the line AoE.
Don't hear that a lot.
Though. That would have made it perfect Halicarnassus, because that line AoE was just random in Halicarnassus, but always got people. Ivy, stop asking for attention. That's my cat. One cat. This cat is the demanding one.
Mike, what were you saying? I don't think we could hear you because you were back.
I was yelling at Ivy.
About the line. No, about the line AoE and Halicarnassus.
Halicarnassus had the line AoE. They got rid of the line AoE from Hesperos from normal mode. I was waiting for there to just be random line AoEs. Yeah, you just like.
Oh yeah. That's funny.
They
I'm
did get rid of that.
surprised they get rid of that. That would have been funny to just have that in the mix all of a sudden.
Just catch people. You know what? I'm surprised, especially during like any of the stat groups. Just aim at one of the stat groups while they're going. That would have been so much grief. But they did. Yeah, you know what? I didn't even really think about it. I do get kind of Halicarnassus vibes, which is weird. I mean, Halicarnassus is one of the best third fights we've had. So I guess it's probably good that the fourth fight had vibes that were like that. What about bursts? Did you struggle at all with healing the bursts, the orb popping into the quarter room explosion? Is that pretty? Let me guess. Just go ahead and say it. Just tell me you pressed Microcosmos. Just go ahead and tell me you pressed Microcosmos.
Maybe I did. Maybe at some point.
It's fucking ability.
I mean, progging through it was like, it was kind of a bitch to heal. But then once you like once I got my heals set up, and I was like, okay, this is pretty comical now. So neutral sect, horoscope, star, and then little macrocosmos, just to top it all off.
You know.
Yeah,
what?
I mean, I just kind of recitation ad lib deployed, and it kind of destroyed the mechanic.
Yeah.
Expedience.
It was like if I remember correctly, it was like protraction, then recitation ad lib deploy for the guaranteed crit low, and then expedient. So kind of just all that mitigation, just kind of. You're not really like the first orb didn't do damage. I think the second one did like 20k or something. It didn't even wipe the shields on the first hit, so it was pretty big.
It's a little strange because you go a pretty long time without taking damage during all that setup. He pretty much blood rakes and then waits like 30 seconds for you to get all your healing abilities back before.
Yeah, that's true. Because after the Pnax, it does a buster, and then again just does blood rake, and then it's kind of like just 30 seconds of nothing.
Yeah, he just stripped shields a little early with a blood rake right before. He's just like, okay, just in case, let me make sure. Okay, now you have to react to it. Okay, perfect. Yeah, and then the second phase, on the other hand, second phase is. I have a question about this, regardless of healing. Door boss or no door boss for you two? Do you prefer one or the other? I like to ask everyone who comes on the show whether or not they're a fan of this or if they'd rather have the one long encounter.
I like door boss.
Door boss is okay.
To Shiva, having to go through Shiva, fucking light rampant. So yeah, I like door boss. I'll take door boss over that.
I think my only issue with door boss is that the door boss is the second fight's like 8 minutes, like generally now, which I think is kind of lame because inherently, door bosses usually just makes fights easier just because instead of having to play perfectly for anywhere from like 13 to 14 minutes, you're just having to play perfectly for 7 to 8 minutes just to get through, and then you can kind of take a breather, and then just kind of resets the difficulty a little bit. So I think that kind of system is fine. But
at that point, wouldn't it be like a step away from an ultimate though?
If you had to do it all in, you mean the other fights like Shiva and Titan that are
Shiva is closest to an ultimate. Like Titan, I think was fine.
Yeah,
Titan was
fine. You kind of had a moment to.
You had the breather,
more chill moments. Technically, you do have a breather like during the cutscene for Shiva, but at that point, you're just like so pissed because you've probably stuck at light rampant for like 2 hours.
It's nothing
Shiva
more
was
depressing
weird,
than dying to that first Akmorn too. Like you're just like,
oh my god, you're finally past that phase and everything, and then you die to the first thing.
Shiva was the first fight in I don't know how long where they actually made a complete fight, because most fights in Stormblood and even Titan was just like kind of like a here's one mechanic at like 10 minutes. We're just gonna repeat the rest of the fight until the boss is dead. Where Shiva introduced new mechanics all the way up until like 13 minutes. So it was definitely differently designed than other fights were.
Yeah.
They're used to making, because they kind of wanted to go away from that philosophy ever since like Creator, where people were like, skip communion or disband, and it was just like they didn't like that very much, so they started making fights that kind of looped halfway through, or like almost at the end of the fight.
Freaking Stormblood, man! I was so glad when 011 was not the same for the last 50%. Because every time I think back to just all of the shit. Aloha! Stop! Come in here. You hear him yowling in there. He's like, someone come sit in the living room so I can take a nap. I speak cat. It's fine. Yeah. So no, I feel you with that. Although with Shiva with that, Shiva in this actually I like to draw a lot of comparisons to. So I'm glad you brought that up with the comparison, because Shiva's a fight where, how would I say this? You're giving a lot more agency, I feel like, in how you go about doing the mechanics. And this is quite literally, I'm going to present you with an act. And outside of a couple of them, you have a lot of control about how you go about these, even if you have to solve them in a very particular way. And so I get kind of Shiva-ish vibes from this, especially for the Enrage sequence. Because Worm's Lament 2 is effectively Shiva's Enrage sequence. I know she has the cast and the mirrors and all that before she actually kills you. But that is her. She doesn't do the I'm going to hit you over and over again, heal through my AoE shit like Titan does, or like Gaia does, or anything like that. So
I like that kind of stuff. I thought the Enrage was really good. This is my favorite Enrage yet. Like, even if it's not as hard to heal as something like Oracle's Enrage, I think the way it's executed makes it more fun.
Yeah, because it's an Enrage that can completely fall apart because the player screwed up, not just because the heal.
Yeah, it's like a coordination check plus like heal check, right? Like you kind of have to pay attention. You set your own tempo, which I think is cool. I like mechanics like that.
Yeah. But for the rest of the fight, it is largely just a dance. Everyone kind of has a similar responsibility. And thus the healing just kind of comes down to where are you placing the healers? Where are they on the arena at any given point?
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that was more or less exciting for you to actually heal versus the structure of the first fight or even P3S.
I don't really remember. I'm pretty sure like all the healing, I think we did like maybe 20% of our healing in the final fight was probably the first 6 minutes, and like the rest of the 80% is literally just the Enrage. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I used like maybe I don't remember, maybe like less than 10 GCDs on the before the Enrage, and like maybe 10 plus on the rest.
It's a little mismatched, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I was freaking out. I was stressed. People were like running out like the wrong time too, and like getting hit by the like people are getting hit by that like merry-go-round thing, and I'm just like heal, Helios, like it. Yeah, probably my least favorite thing to heal ever, but a good mechanic overall. I think it was a cool Enrage sequence.
Of all the times to try to ask the healer to quickly fix somebody's mistake, that's not the time where you want it to happen. Somebody falls down to like 9,000 HP because they took a cleave, and then you're just like,
yeah.
It's very easy for things to fall apart in that Enrage.
Yeah, I feel like when you're in it, it's like there's 100 things going like per second, and there's just so much happening. But then when you're actually watching it from, just watching someone play and on a stream or whatever, it seems really chill and slow. Like if I watch the mechanic like on a VOD, I'm like, yeah, I can do this. Like this is chill, like a couple cleaves and just some Helioses, and then getting into it, you see how chaotic it can be, and all of a sudden people are dying, and you're like, oh my god, like I can't pay attention to every single person because I have to see what's going on as a whole. It's pretty insane.
That's a good point. Like the Leon said in chat, the people out of range doing the Enrage sequence on farm now, like week 3, doing it when we first got there for Prague is like completely different, because like people are standing at like max. Everybody's trying to stand like max melee. Even healers are like max melee. Nowadays, me and my co-healer, we just like stand in the middle of the boss until we're ready to go out and dodge cleaves. Like it makes it so much easier. It's like that sense of agency kind of like floods your mind at the time. But when you like start to get it down, it's just like It's kind of nice. You kind of set your own tempo. People like not freaking out, trying to,
Yeah.
oh, am I popping now? No, I'm popping later. Oh my god, am I popping now? And you have two people popping at the same time. It's like,
Yeah.
also, did you see the tank LB3 thing?
Yes, I did. And I've had
Oh my
flashbacks to
gosh.
Ultima all over again. For anyone
That's
who
pretty
hasn't
funny.
seen it, it's tank LB3 super mitt, pop all 8 tethers, kill the boss. Before the second one. It's very specific. This one's designed to give you the freedom to hit the boss without any stress. So, it's killer strats. Pretty wicked strats. Yeah, okay. I got about half of that. Oh, thanks.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like, so like, hey chat, what's going on? So I thought it'd be dope to have
Boba?
cake, right? So I got 3 different slices.
Why'd you get so much
Why
cake?
not? They told me they were delicious.
Of course they did. They're selling you cakes.
It's German marble and traditional chocolate. And but I want to try the marble one.
Okay.
And then they were like, the cookies are real good.
Why do you have no control? Why do you have no control? The cookie's the size of my head. Thank you. It's mine now. I'm keeping this.
Now I'm hungry.
Work. You're the best.
Now I'm
Slide.
hungry.
Good
Thank
to
you,
see
Mike.
As always.
Good to see you.
He said, "Good to see you."
Thanks for making me hungry.
Where's the
You
boba?
want a cookie?
Yeah.
No, I have freshly in the fridge.
Can I look at them later? Is now the time for this?
Oh, I don't know.
Can I see? I want to see the cake.
Now they want to see the cake.
Oh, they
I
want
want to see cake.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, now this is a cake show. At
Show
this
and
point.
tell.
Let's see the cake.
Aloha, the cake's not for you.
So like, this is the regular, the tradition.
That's a 5-layer chocolate cake.
Your mom's a 5-layer chocolate cake.
Burn!
Oh my.
Oh, see?
Oh, that looks so good.
Burn!
I don't know. Sometimes you talk in here to yourself. I don't know who you're talking to.
That's true. Normally, it's for those we call those
traditional-
YouTube videos.
Traditional German chocolate.
Okay, well I gotta make sure I don't.
The German chocolate.
There you go. All right, this is the cake of the realm. Now, by the way, not to be misinterpreted. There you
I also
go.
got another cookie that has sprinkles. It's super cute.
There you
There's
go.
a little heart in the middle.
Yep, cake. Yep, cake.
And then
That's
marble.
a good joke.
This is the one I want to try because it's like vanilla-y.
Okay.
Well, that one looks so good.
There you go.
I'm so jealous.
There you go. No, it's cake of the realm.
Oh, do you want to keep your cookie?
Yeah, what I already. Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna not eat it now that it's in front of me.
Chat, do you want to see the other cookie? I'll go get the other cookie.
Yeah.
So about healing. It's a lot like a cookie.
What?
It's delicious.
Where are we here again?
Yeah.
Analogy.
It's a great analogy. Healing is sweet. Like a cookie.
Is it?
Then you get sad when it's over.
Yeah.
Right?
Healing is spicy. That's how I describe
I'm
it.
feeling it's spicy like wings.
Look at it. It has a heart.
No, I want wings.
It's
Fuck.
with love.
Oh.
I don't know what the inside
Aloha,
is.
the cookie's
They
not for
just said it was
you.
good. I forgot.
You bought the cookie,
I'm
but
so
you don't know what the cookie
jealous.
has in it.
They said it tastes
Okay, you need to be more appreciative that she bought all this cake and cookies, okay? Come on.
Aloha. How do you feel about this? That's what I would say.
What's going on in chat?
Cake of the realm.
Realm.
Yep cake. It's yep cake. Totally original. Not in any way a reference to another way that word is used. Not at all. Anyway, so to get back on track.
Oh, it's
Cookies.
over.
Show's over.
Now I'm getting cake.
Let's
now.
get him back on track.
To get back on
Yeah.
track, show's over. No.
Yeah.
All right, so does this tier? I hate this cat. I hate him so much. This raid tier sets a precedent for healing for the rest of the expansion. Is there any? Are there any changes or things that you'd like to see them make for healing in Savage encounters, either going into the next Ultimate, which will be in probably about 3.5-4 months, or going into the future Savage tiers that you feel like wasn't achieved in this tier in particular?
as he gets up.
Well, no, I'm listening. I'm letting.
Oh,
them,
yeah, you can hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think
he's got
this
one
is
of
for?
those.
It's for decoration.
I mean, I don't really know. I mean, this like I feel like the next tier is definitely the next tier and the tier after are definitely gonna be hard to heal. Probably, it's probably just gonna be more outgoing damage. I don't really think there's really like they did pretty well, especially for like a first tier. I think the healing is pretty okay. I'm trying to think like what they could do better, but I mean, really the only thing they can really do is just make mechanics where you're not just able to stand still. But that's really just something for like a final fight, because like it's kind of like kind of goes like the J waves thing where it's just like healing while standing still is fine, but it just something that kind of pushes healing skills to the next level is like having to heal while on the move. Stuff like Ultimate Annihilation and Uwu and Hello World and even the Enrage and the final fights this tier P4S, where you're having to move while breaking tethers and healing people who are like potentially out of range and spread away from the party. So like those are like my favorite kinds of mechanics to heal. I would love to see more of those, but it's kind of like an ultimate level mechanic more than a savage for the most part.
We got one of those coming up,
and I hope it's going to be the most controversial ultimate.
Why is that?
You know why?
Do I?
It got delayed.
Oh,
I
because
don't give a shit about that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people do.
Too
That's
bad.
why, like, I feel like, I feel like if it's not to their standards, right, it's going to be pretty controversial.
To their standards. T was to their standards when it came out, and everyone's like, it's pretty fucking easy. I'm not
Really? I feel like a lot of people didn't like T when it first came out.
They were just frustrated because of dolls and Nisi. Everyone's just frustrated at dolls and Nisi.
Dolls.
I thought it was because people thought perfect was too easy.
Yeah, that ended up being the case too. But I mean, a lot of it, people just I feel like it didn't age well. Like everyone came out like, this is amazing, and then they were like, where are all these things that I thought would be here?
People were like, wait, Living Liquid and BJCC, these phases are amazing. And you get Alexander's like, okay, Deception's okay. Damn, Wormhole's cool. Then you have like J-Waves and the Perfects, like, oh.
I'm gonna lose my mind, Aloha. I'm gonna lose my
Meow. I think you mean meow meow.
I was gonna say it. I was gonna say that. I almost said meow meow. I hate it. I hate it so much. Minna, do you have any expectations? Because I guess really the point is that this sets kind of a precedent for the way healing is kind of expected now to be for the expansion. And do you think they kind of keep on that track, or do they kind of wibble wobble and maybe go back to some of their old habits that they've had with healing in the past, for better or worse?
I mean, I agree with what Momo said for the most part. It's definitely going to be, I mean, I hope they ramp it up some more. And I do hope that I'm not standing still healing. I find that pretty boring. I feel like I like when I have to move around and heal. So yeah. I don't have much to say on it. It's just whatever Momo said, really.
I can't win with the
I like healing.
I like that you like healing. I like also not having to get up every 5 seconds and close my door while I'm trying to do a podcast.
Just leave it open.
I can't. I'm too loud.
Whisper.
Okay.
All right.
So healing.
I do low-key hope that they don't keep adding skills that can whatever mechanics that can be trivialized by macrocosmos. You know, as fun as it is right now, I really hope that that's not a trend where they're like 1 HP or something like that, and I'm like, well, here's my button, because it's gonna get old really quick.
I was kind of
I think that's a good segue, actually.
Okay, never mind. Thanks.
We didn't really talk about that too much, but I feel like a lot of players were pretty scared that, you know, they weren't going to balance the fight to the healer's healing toolkits at the time. Because Stormblood or Shadowbringers did I feel like they did a pretty poor job, at least for the first raid tier, for the most part, balancing for the healing toolkits. But I felt like this tier was actually pretty decent. Like everything hit really hard because like every job in the game now has way more healing. You know, tanks have more healing with like Shake It Off. and Divine Veil having like an added heal. They have more mitigation. So stuff like that. They kind of ramped up how much harder things hit. They didn't really increase the healing per se, or the damage per se, or the damage output per se, but they increased how much they did, which I think kind of made a pretty decent impact on the healing culture overall.
Just that could have an inverse effect where you have skills like Death's Toll more often. I was really surprised it didn't just set you to 1 HP. That was, I think, my biggest surprise, as opposed to actually dealing 1,000,000 damage a hit.
That would have probably. That's why I say, like, I don't think they really thought of Macrocosmos, because if they did, they could have easily made a debuff that, like, you take an X amount of damage, you die, then you're placed with a maybe like a 5 to 10 second debuff that you can't heal. You have to wait till it kind of like God Kefka, right? You know how like the skulls.
Yeah.
You couldn't heal for that until it fell off. They could have easily done something like that, just to kind of balance it. So I feel like they didn't really think of Macrocosmos.
We had Keo here last week, and so you talking about God Kefka makes me think of how much he hates white hole mechanics.
I think they're cheap, yeah, but I don't think Death Toll is exactly a white hole mechanic.
No, it's not. But I was thinking of that because you used it as an example. Because length of that debuff was based on if you were full HP or not. Is what I was thinking. Yeah. So, no, yeah, I do think that we won't see anything as egregious as the Macrocosmos P3S thing ever again. Even if they knew it was an interaction and they just decided not to do anything, I think they think that through a little bit more next time, because being a white mage in the Party Finder is kind of tough as it is, because the community is as tough as it can be. And when you get to P3S, it gets a whole lot harder for you to find a group as a white mage. Everybody knows how strong Astro is, and they're like, yeah, so they're one of our healers Astro, and the other one Sage or Scholar. Yeah.
Thanks for making me feel good about Sunday, Happy.
Yeah, but you're in a group. You're fine.
You say that, I think it's funny because, like, you would think that they wouldn't make a mechanic like that again, right? But then you go back and you think of like, wait a second, how many fights have screwed Dragoon again? Like, how many times have a Dragoon not been able to jump at the right spot because there's maybe like a giant line AoE in the middle of the room that they can't jump into? You sick savage.
Or you make some untargetable for a few seconds.
Yeah, you make like some like Grand Octet where you can't keep your life through the downtime.
Yeah, but just like play better,
Yeah, just play better.
That's it.
Skill issue.
That's a skill issue.
Plus ratio. Plus you fell off. Plus L.
God damn it, Momo. I mean, they can't design every fight perfect for everyone. It's just sometimes they can design it perfect for one single job, and that's what we had here. I really wish we had, like, they have like these interviews or like translations where they talk about job design or fight design. I want to know how they how fight design teams interact with job design teams. That's like my biggest curiosity in this game right now, is like, how do they interact? How do they make decisions within each other, between each other? Do they talk a lot? Do they go like every little change, like go back and forth between each other? It's something I don't think we actually know too much about. Is there a fight perfectly designed for Dragoon? Is there one where they're just dead automatically?
Any dummy fight, I guess.
Dummy fights. Stone Sky Sea. There we go. Actually, that's not. Well, I guess they can sight themselves. It's fine now. Used to not be good for them because of no sight, but they fixed that. They fixed that already. Yeah. It's okay, Sly. It's okay. Just use your defensives to survive on Dragoon. I'm sorry, Sly.
No, you're not.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
It's okay. I'm used to it.
Okay. Hey, but you know what? At least in this tier, you can help healers a lot more with Feint.
Sure can.
Hey, did you know that the Warden's Wrath AoE is physical damage?
Yep.
Isn't pretty much everything in
P1? There's a lot of physical damage.
We haven't had
like I was about to say, isn't everything in P1 physical? So
I mean, like AoE, right? AoE wise, that's pretty big, because we don't really get physical AoEs pretty much ever. The last one was Voidwalker.
Is Slam Shut physical also? I'm sorry.
I don't think so. Is it? I don't know. I have to check.
Yeah. They're all the same animation. That's really weird that Slam Shut is magical, because it's the same exact animation. It just changes the arena also. Okay.
Yeah.
Either way.
But even still, like it works for it.
Yeah, it
I think
works.
it's slam dunk.
And that's another big thing is that you talked about the tools that the actual jobs got for healing, but they tried to make sure that there was some parity in terms of everyone's ability to reduce damage in regards to Adel working on physical, Feint working on magical. Obviously, you still have ranged physical buffs. They gave Red Mage Magic Barrier for some fucking reason. They gave Reaper that shield and heal, which even after it's nerfed is still stupid for some fucking reason. And yet nobody uses them.
Things ain't mid.
They still don't use it. The worst part of it all. And I do think these tools will be much, much more important in future tiers. I'm especially curious to see how Ultimate is balanced around the sheer amount of team mitigation.
I'm very curious to see how they balance Ultimate, yeah.
Because they didn't balance the old ones around it, I can tell you that much.
He was really good for the first two phases. Alexander kind of onwards kind of fell off healing wise, but like the intensity in Living Liquid and BJCC was it was intense. There was a lot of healing, a lot of damage, a lot of mistakes, being made, had to recover a lot. Alexander, there really wasn't too much, at least outgoing damage. Like he had J waves, but I don't really like J waves was there's a lot of healing, but it was just pretty much like, spam your GCDs and you can generally make it through it fine for the most part. As long as you kind of have like a mitigation plan in mind. And then Perfect Alex, I'm pretty sure pretty much I remember the first time I got the Perfect, I was like, what's going on? Is there any more? Like, I think the hardest thing in Perfect to heal specifically was the spread mechanic during Fate Beta. That could, be pretty dangerous, especially for Dark Blue, who had to go far away from the party. Especially if the healer was Dark Blue, you couldn't really even heal. You'd have to like time a Swiftcast or be a Scholar and just like use your fairy to heal. But
just be a Scholar. That's fine.
Just kind of hope they balance the healing more in this next Ultimate, because the first two phases were really good, and I think you do need a break at some point. So I think Alexander could have been like that phase for healers, where it's just like a nice little break, and then you go back to kind of some little bit harder healing. But I think Perfect was kind of like a letdown for me personally in terms of healing.
Well, we'll see how this one turns out, because man, did they really destroy all three of the old ones at this point.
I heard T was pretty good still. Was it not?
T is okay. T is T. Like,
yeah, that one. Yeah.
But
T is.
Ucob.
I did Ucob on Sage. I was like flabbergasted how broken that job was in there.
Dive bombs.
Yeah, we were doing that back in Stormblood though.
Yeah, all right, Mr. Speed Killer. most groups don't just skip the dive bombs the most of the time.
Weird flex, I guess, right?
Mr. 14, what was it? 1450 T clear?
It is kind of crazy, I guess, how you like just any kind of like casual like put together group can just kind of do it now though.
Yeah.
But Sage overall, like having Kara Coley for every trio, like it's just something that you can't do with Scholar, right? Scholar just has, soil, that's you're done.
Don't worry,
right?
They'll get the Technodrome. They'll get it.
Remember I hope they do.
Mr. Rank 1T. Listen, it was impressive. I watched it. I saw.
It was fun.
It was impressive.
I played White Mage.
You did. You did play White Mage.
I played White Mage and yeah. It's fun.
Showed all of you. All right. All right. Well, with that, we're gonna come to a show's close. Are there any specific asks for Tuesday that you very much expect to see or want to see for healers?
White Mage MP balancing.
White Mage.
Yeah.
Damn, that was
Just White
that
Mage.
was fast.
Yeah.
It's needed. Like I don't know. It's like either like the two big ones. I think is just give a size more MP back, like 10%. I think would be perfect. Or just like they just literally can't design a system where it's a DPS loss for you to maintain your MP pool. That's
If they just
it's
increase the
stupid.
potency of Misery, would that help in consequentially? If they
if they made a DPS neutral, sure, it'd be different. But like in its current design state, it's stupid.
1240, 1230, 1240.
1240 would be DPS neutral. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Just make
I mean,
misery
they can even balance that by either making like if they I mean it doesn't. I mean, Y Mage actually needs like a kind of like an increase in damage too. It's the lowest DPS healer right now in terms of like just max ceiling potential. But I don't know how they balance that because it's also really strong in AoE. So
Who cares? Fuck it, right?
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Microcosmos.
Most of the time,
exists.
AoE isn't.
Wow, toxic caps. Wow, really?
Do it. I'm just saying, just buff it. Just do it. Don't question it. Sorry, cats.
I would like to see. Apparently, so there's some weird stuff going on with Numa right now. Sometimes it applies instantly. Sometimes it takes like 2 or 3 seconds to apply to the like one person. So yeah, that needs to be figured out too.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job fixing that across the board with most other things. So
Yeah.
they should probably make sure that's not that way.
Oh,
going into it.
that's actually what we need to talk about. The shield's being applied before the heal even hits.
Yep.
Oh,
That's a really big quality of life for a Sage and Scholar and any I guess DPS or
Shield
tank that
healer.
has something similar that it works on.
Yeah.
I don't think they really updated too much outside the healers.
But
yeah.
they needed it the most, so
Yeah.
yeah, fix
They
that.
definitely
hallowed
changed some
delay.
things.
Don't fix the hallowed delay. That would be buffing Paladin. That's you can't do that. That's impossible. Yeah. Any other job changes that aren't healer related for Tuesday that you're hoping to see? Just on a
I mean,
personal
everything
note.
I want is major. I don't think it would happen. Like
What's up?
Arcana changes, like that needs to be fixed somehow, or just like I said, delete it, get rid of it, bring back sleeve draw. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be doing anything like with button bloat when it comes to Astro. Also, something like random that I've always wanted to be changed, and people might disagree, but I don't like Sinistry.
No,
I
know a
feel
lot
like
of people
Sinistry
don't.
doesn't work with Astro's kit at all. I was hoping that they would change that. I'm still hoping that
Delete
one
it.
day they'll change it Yeah, or delete it. But yeah, Sinistry is something that's been on my mind for a while that they really need to do something with because it is so
So-
niche and useless. I think I've used it like in 2 fights throughout my 4 almost 5 years of playing.
So we're getting rid of Minor Arcana and we're getting rid of Sinistry. Got it.
Yeah. We can probably get rid of more, but those are the 2 first things that I would get rid of for Astro.
Those are two. Yeah, no, I don't think very many people would disagree with you about Sinistry.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense anymore with the way that with Astro's gone, like the kit. It's just, why?
Yeah, as the healing meta starts to shift away from GCD healing.
Exactly.
Even back in Stormblood it was the same way. Like when Stormblood, that was kind of like the big shift in healer mentality, I would say. And then, as that mentality keeps growing and growing, and they keep making more skills that kind of enforce that kind of mentality. Skills like Sinistry become more niche. I mean, even Neutral Select being as strong as it is really niche. It's more of like a prog tool more than a optimization tool.
Yeah.
It would be nice if Sinistry did they changed Sinistry or even nerfed it a little bit, but made it kind of work the same, but on off GCs as well.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. Maybe like nerf it by like 10% and just have everything be applied. That would be nice. I would use that so much more.
It'd be too strong if everything worked though. Oh my god,
Make it single
all
target
the EDs.
microcosmos.
Too ED, too easy. I can finally heal Living Dead.
True,
properly.
actually.
Just make it single target microcosmos.
That could be actually kind of interesting, yeah.
Just they take a bunch of damage and then pop, pop, pop. Make it 2-3 minutes.
I would take that, for a tank or something. That would be awesome.
Because Astro needs another one of those for sure.
Yeah. Why not?
I can't argue that logic. Momo, is there any job change at all across the entirety of things that you are kind of hoping to see Tuesday, not restricted only to healers?
Job change overall? I mean, probably see some samurai buffs, some damage increase maybe. Paladin, I mean, I can't really see Paladin being increased too much. Like, if anything, they'd probably just make it equal to Warrior. But there's like no way they make it as good as Dark Knight or Gunbreaker.
I would be surprised.
Yeah.
I would be surprised.
Hard to say. I mean, I don't really know. It's like it's so hard to judge the healer balance right now because like nobody's best in slot and nobody's like really like super optimizing right now. It's just kind of like kind of just casual reclear / fun runs and maybe your occasional quote unquote what I'm talking about. Those runs.
Yeah.
But So I am curious to see. It's like that's why it's like really hard to judge job balance right now because like the pretty much the extreme trials are really bad for kind of gauging how good jobs were because the downtime can screw some jobs and there's really no dummy job like kind of like how Innocence was. It was kind of much harder to see. And then we had normal modes, which was okay. Like kind of normal modes kind of adds that gear discrepancy where some people are going to have chest piece or legs after week 1, and some people are going to use whatever gear is going to increase their DPS the most, so like prepping for like prog. Like for example, like you would pretty much never get like a normal mode accessory because the crafted are just generally going to beat it just because you can pet meld those, and the normal mode accessories only have one meld slot, so they're pretty much never going to be better for the most part, at least on healers.
Yeah. Hey, at least with normal mode, people were really interested in speed kills this time. It's the one time where everyone's like, "Oh, let's do speed kills." It's normal.
That's like the best time to do it. I think it was the same in Shadowbringers, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a lot.
I think a lot of people.
Kills. Yeah. Then the fight comes out and they're like, "So how do I parse?" And then that's it. Goes
good way to prep.
Yeah, there you go.
Get comfortable with the fight in a sense.
Yeah, Sly. Any change you're expecting for Tuesday? I know really it's just Dragoon that you'd be looking at, and you most of the time just take those as they come.
This time we actually need them.
What do you want?
I feel just potencies.
Just potencies.
I think Dragoon should be buffed. Yeah, I think Dragoon should be the top melee DPS.
I would normally agree with that, but I'd say no. Just like at least
the thing is
on par.
I mean, the thing is, right now they have no defensive utility, so I think
they got life surge. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, life surge is something you can't even effectively use. Something that you pray that it lines up with the damage outgoing
just
damage.
Always use it as soon as you lose health. That's it.
And actually, another one I would actually want a little bit of potency for is Machinist. Honestly, I feel like Bard is getting away from murder.
Bard is
getting away to
stupid.
Bard is dumb as shit.
No way.
Bard is getting away from murder right now. So Machinist needs potency changes.
Bard is so fucking stupid.
Isn't it doing like way more DPS than a range overall should?
It's doing a lot. Here, let me pull up because I got like a 99 on P2. So let me tell you what a 99 on P2 looks like. Because that's a pretty there's only a little bit of downtime there. A 99 on P2 was 7.8.
What's like a monk hitting?
Let's see. A monk at 99 does. Let's get 99. Monk does 8475 on that fight.
84?
Yeah.
I guess that's actually not that big. I mean, that 600 is a large gap nowadays.
Yeah.
It's like
that fight in particular. A lot of people do really well. Just not Summoner, Machinist, and Sits.
Yeah.
Well, Summoner does okay actually. Summoner and Bard are like within parity of each other at that.
I just need to bring Dancer Machinist up and I'd be probably fine.
Yeah, Dancer's at 72 in case you're wondering. So about 600 behind at that
percentile.
Oh,
yikes.
Yeah, it's hard to tell though because this is where some people have weapons, some people don't. I don't think many people have their weapons at 99 at this point, especially not for P2.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that.
Yeah, really for my numbers, I'm just fighting against people with gear. With better gear.
This is one of those. Parsing at this point is so pointless. You really are just trying to get a gold on your account before.
But at the same time, I want it so bad though. At the same time, I want it so fucking bad. When I'm like 65 away from fucking orange, I'm like so bad.
Dude, everyone literally is just. It's like if you get a weapon, like, hey, anyone want to just re-clear for fun? Anyone like me? Else?
Yeah, can we go back in on Monday, please?
Can we just go back in like
I don't want to do this for people.
Re-clear?
I don't want to do this for people, but can we go back in on Monday, please?
just no particular reasons. I just figuring see how much faster it goes. We could optimize. Yeah.
Team building. While
I get my gold bars. There we go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Always be there. Oh man. Yeah, but okay. And then for me, honestly, I just think Dancer needs Jesus. That's it.
Damn right they need
He needs
Jesus.
a dancing Jesus at this point. So there's other
Jesus
things
tap
I think
dance
that,
of Christ.
I think they do need to do. Like Summoner, I think even if they don't necessarily buff it, which I think they still need to again, they need to change.
No shot, dude.
Dude, at least they need to rebalance some of the power because Ifrit needs to hit harder than it does.
Okay, I agree with that. I think they do. Like I hear like Ifrit's like really bad right now because it's a slow cast plus like it probably does any damage. Like it's like a 400 potency something move, right?
Yeah, it's 430, which is, I mean, it's roughly the same as what you're getting from the other ones, but it comes with such a disadvantage that
Yeah,
it's
it
not
feels
really
bad.
worth it. Yeah, and the big thing is its cast time is longer than the GCD, and no matter what, even if you swift cast one, you're guaranteed to have to cast the other.
You get to be a black mage for 2 GCDs every like 60 seconds or something, right? I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, except that you do less than them. that would be the problem. Yeah, Dancer, Machinist, Summoner. Summoner though I think needs power in very specific places. It didn't need the Phoenix change that bad. It needed it, but there's other things that are more pressing. Ninja's still really sad. Red Mage is doing okay actually. I think Red Mage, Black Mage are both doing okay.
I can see Red Mage or Ninja getting a buff too. Ninja, Dragoon, Samurai, probably the big 3 for melees.
Yeah,
I don't
everyone
see Red
in the
Mage
middle
getting
is
buffed at
pretty
all.
close. It's really just Monk and Reaper at the top and then Dancer at the bottom that make people sad.
How much is Machinist doing? I mean,
Machinist, let me grab the 99th on that same fight. 7421, which was about 400 behind bar.
Wow.
yeah.
That's at
Machinist is a
99,
weird one, though.
obviously. It's going to be different at different ones. But at let's do 80. At 80, it's 686, and Bard is 699. So it's only about 150 difference. But even still, Bard is doing a lot. Bard's very strong. Machinist should probably be stronger than that. Should be like Black Mage. Black Mage is above Red Mage. Machinist should be above Bard. I feel that way, at the very least. Should be like that across.
Machinist is weird too because I mean, Wildfire is very finicky with certain buffs, and also Reassemble. Being the way Reassemble is, kind of loses value under Bard and Scholar and Dragoon's red buffs as well.
Yeah, there's all sorts
kind of a
problems.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, this won't be the last. We'll have 6.1. We might even see some reworks in 6.1. We have.
I think we will, right? I mean, how many times have we not had a rework in 0.1? We had a Warrior and Stormblood, Ninja and Shadowbringers. What's this one to be? Astro?
We had a
Dark
Summoner
Knight?
one also. We had like that Summoner Light one also, where they like changed the pet abilities to being on the GCD.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, so Dark Knight, a lot of people are calling for. Some people Astro.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I think Astro, Scholar, and Dark Knight are the 3 jobs I can see getting reworked.
Well, we might find out about that end of February, because that's when our next live
Maybe.
letter is.
Oh,
But
we'll
first,
see,
we
I
have to
guess.
get through Elden Ring, Final Fantasy VI, Horizon Forbidden West, Dying Light 2, Pokemon Arceus,
Gran Turismo
and Lost
7.
Ark. You know, just a few things.
That's a lot of
Just a
things.
few things. Yeah.
Elden
I was
Ring.
waiting for Elden Ring, but now you
Yeah.
have all these other games that have come into my mind. I'm like, wait a minute.
All right. Well, with that, show went on a little bit longer than originally expected, just about 8 minutes. So I think we can safely wrap things up. Thank you again for putting up with the last minute organization of it. Like I said, we had a different show planned for today, but guests said this week wouldn't work. So moved the show up a week. And you two were very courteous to oblige on such
Thank you
short
so
notice.
much.
I'll send you my invoice.
Yeah, you said this was paid for, right? Like it's a paid slot?
I've got half a cookie and a bag
Deal.
of super sour candies.
Deal!
Okay, which one?
Both.
Okay,
I've
well,
got
I've got
alcohol.
another bag of super sour candies. So. These are my meal suppressants because I eat one and I don't want anything for the rest of the day.
That's,
Well, they come with a warning label like don't eat more than one every 24 hours, and I'm like, yeah, I won't eat more than anything after I eat one of these. So,
So it's like what are they called? The nuclear? I don't know. Is it
Oh, the nuclear
the
waste
warheads.
is nothing. Warheads are
God.
also. I can eat warheads like Skittles.
Ew!
Those things are nothing.
No.
Those are a child's candy.
That's gross.
Sorry, I just have a sophisticated palate.
Is that what we call it?
Yes, it is. Anyway, thank you again for coming on the show. Midna, why don't you tell
Thank
everyone
you so
where they
much.
can find you at and what you're currently working on?
Stealing stars.
Yeah, Mario Party.
From me?
No, you guys can find me at twitch.tv/midnightbaby. I'm currently just doing Savage Reclares. I might finally go into Party Finder. So we'll have fun with the memes. Aside from Final Fantasy 14, I am going through Final Fantasy 4 for the first time, doing the Pixel remaster. And I'm also looking forward to Elden Ring. So those are the 2 games that I'll be streaming a bunch. And then maybe some Mario Party, guys. Yes? No?
Yeah, we gotta
Maybe?
warm up our friendship before Chocobo GP.
Oh yeah, and Chocobo GP. I'm really excited for that too. Sly, Mario Party.
Sly?
I see you
I'm sorry,
there.
What happened? What happened?
Mario Party.
Who? Huh?
Sometime.
Huh?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Huh?
Mario
Yeah.
Party. Stars.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said okay, I heard it. Anyway.
Okay, yeah, we're here.
Perfect.
We'll get
Perfect.
that
He said
scheduled.
okay. Great. Confirmation. Got him. Locked in. Done. Thank you, Sly. And thank you again, Midna, for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Momo, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you at, kind of?
Well, you can find me over at FFX Heavy Momo everywhere on my socials. I mean, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, anywhere.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, I stream usually every weekday.
Wait, where's the other
Okay.
guy?
Who?
Who's the guy who was doing the intro the first time?
Who? I don't know who you're talking about.
Okay, that's fine.
I should mind your business, bud. Don't ask questions.
I'm gonna ask any fucking questions that I want to, pal.
But yeah, you can find me at FFX Heavy Momo everywhere. Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. Pretty much any social that I use, at least. And, yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
No, thanks again for coming. Sly, how are you doing? What are you doing? When are you doing?
I'm okay.
Why are you doing? And who are you? Well, you don't have to answer the last one. That's fine. Don't think too hard about that.
I was going to answer all the questions, but I forgot. You can find me at twitch.tv/Sly, aka Gray Fox. You can find me on Twitter at Sly the Fox. I mean, in between prepping for raids and whatnot, and just playing a lot of Monster Hunter. Okay, of course, I'm looking forward to Elden Ring. Surprisingly looking forward to a lot of indies this year. Quite a few indies. Of course, we have Nirvana, the sequel to Valhalla. We have Coffee Talk Episode 2, Hibiscus and Butterfly, which the demo is out, which I highly suggest you play because it's really good. Read Only Memories, Neurodiver, and then, of course, GT7, which I am now in the market to get a rig so I can, do wheel and pedal for GT7 because that's just me. I'm just extra. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm looking forward to right now. Other than, right now playing a bunch of Rise.
And Mario
Going
Party.
back in my like I said, a bunch of Rise. And getting back to my old build that I had on Twitch. So yeah, I'll be doing that tonight. It's Friday night. Turn up for the weekend. If you want to join us for Rise, come into my channel, and we'll have drinks. We'll be doing hunts. It'll be a grand old time. Happy. How you doing?
I'm so tired right now. I have no idea.
I bet you are.
It's been a long week
What
for
you
me.
Doing?
It's been a long week for me.
What you doing?
Hi, I'm Mr. Happy. I make videos and YouTube and Twitch and stuff. This week's been a lot of chill. I undertook a mission in the last week. I want all of my hunt mounts in 14. And so I have a lot of S ranks to get to across all of Ether. I hit 1,000 normal ones, but now I still need 1,000 Endwalker and 1,000 Shadowbringers total. So that's been taking up a lot of time. But other than that, it's been a week off for me for YouTube stuff. Just after 5 weeks of, I don't think, not staring at my monitor or recording something, I finally this week was like, come back for a week, come back a little bit stronger. So I'm a little bit out of my funk this week. But that being said, I very much needed it, and so I'll be back on that soon. Pokemon's next week. I don't know if I'm even going to play it, to be honest, but we'll see, because it doesn't. I don't think it looks very good, but we'll see. We'll see. And then time for cake. Relax! I'm not even hungry right now.
I want cake.
Cake time.
I'll have it.
time.
There's so many cake.
Cake time.
There's so much cake.
Time for cake.
Stop, I don't want it. It's too much. I'm not even hungry right now. I'll also be doing a cooking stream on the 30th because I got a sponsored HelloFresh bit. So I'll finally do a cooking stream, which has been a long time request of people. And I think we decided on making pork and chili cheese stuffed poblano peppers.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yum.
So that's gonna be a fun time. By the way, ! HelloFresh in the chat. Sign up. US residents, do it. 16 free meals.
Well then.
Yeah, she's like,
I'm Canadian. See ya.
oh, it's okay. Just try it normally then. I think you can. I think they are in Canada to some capacity. Maybe, I don't know. Either way,
I want the deal.
listen, they're good with deals. You'll find a deal. Find a deal somewhere. It'll pop up. I promise. So with that, I think we can wrap things up. Go into like maybe a 2-3 minute post show just to say quick goodbyes and just a quick laugh about something. Who knows? But thank you again for putting up with the short notice show, and we'll be back next week with a show that was going to be this week, if not a different show. I'll let you know, Sly, what's going on with that.
Or Inshu probably will before you.
No, I'll tell you. I told you what the plan was last week. I just didn't.
You told me what the plan, and then I get like, hey, Sly, so we're having Momo on. I'm like, how the fuck do you notice Inshu? Like,
I talked about it on stream.
Yeah.
All right. And with that, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
See you next week.